Domino, motherfuckers, what's happening?
Alright, so back in this bitch for another one. This is Connecticut's most controversial podcast. This is the Domino Effect. And as always, I go by the name of Domino. Appreciate you guys for listening. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you're watching on Twitch or the YouTubes, wherever the fuck we on right now. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Before I introduce my guest that you can see on the screen right now if you are watching this live, G, do you know what day it is, B? Do you know what week it is? It's my birthday week, but do you know I've been doing this show for 5 years, yo? 5 goddamn years, yo. You've been along for most of the journey, B. At least 4 of them bitches. I'm gonna get drunk, just so you know. So I might say I love you mad times. So just want you to know right now, I love you. I appreciate you for everything that you do. This show wouldn't be what the fuck it is without you. So just wanted to tell you that before I introduce our guest. Now, guest that we got here today, if you live in the Connecticut area and if you are in the party scene, you should know him. You should know the name. You should know the All Out Brothers. He's not local Santo. He's not, national Santo. He's international motherfucking Santo of Hot 937. All around just DJ and just, guy. How are you, Santo?
Salute, my man. Can we start off with this toast? I didn't know it was your birthday week.
Oh, yeah.
When's your birthday?
My birthday is Saturday.
Shit.
Yeah, the 17th, man.
See, this is a nice excuse for me to go ahead and get a little,
Just do it.
Happy
Do it.
birthday, salute.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Sheesh.
How you doing, man? How's your day been, man?
It's been good, man. Thank you again for working with me.
No problem. Shit happens.
We rescheduled a few times.
A few times.
And then not only that, but then when today came around and I was like, yo, I'm definitely 7 o'clock, 1,000%. I had to hit him up earlier and I'm like, yo, please.
Like, yo.
Can you work with me on a time?
Boom, right? I double booked him. I got something to do. I ain't doing shit, so,
Nah, but best believe I would have been here at 7 if you would have been like, nah, the studio time and everything like that, but you worked with me.
Yeah,
And thank you for that because today's Chris Webby's birthday.
Shout out to Chris Webb.
So happy birthday to Chris Webby, man. If you guys are not familiar with that man, as far as Connecticut is concerned, in my opinion, this is a guy that, has been repping Connecticut and has been had Connecticut on his back. That's bro right there. So I had the opportunity of going to check him out. What I did was I set up something where I did like a Zoom on my phone and I had everybody all the friends and all the fam that fuck with Webby. What I did was I just pulled up on him. I didn't let him know I was coming, but I had tabs on him because his roommate. So I'm like, yo, make sure he don't leave the house. So then when I pulled up on him, I had the cake. I wished him a happy birthday, and then I had everybody on the Zoom. And I'm talking about like a lot of people on the Zoom. Everybody that couldn't, make it to actually spend the day with him. So I got a chance to do that. So thanks to my man for letting me pull that off. You know what I'm saying? And then so when I got here, he asked me if I was drinking.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, maybe a little bit because I did start earlier. Drink a little bit of Jameson with my man Webby. And man, it feels good to have some whiskey. I haven't had Jameson since quarantine or any whiskey.
How has quarantine been treating you as a DJ? That's your moneymaker. Like, y'all niggas been in the house doing the home Zooms and like the...
I'm itching now. Now that I had that little taste of Jameson, because Jameson is like it's like our roll drink. You know what I mean? So if anybody knows Webby, he's like the ambassador of that drink. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to drink Jameson until we get back on that roll. So I was doing the Tito's while I was on quarantine. But today I drank Jameson. I'm just itching. I'm like, because it reminded me of the road, and everybody being on the Zoom, we had to. So I was just like, man, I was doing all right with it. Don't get me wrong. But as time is going by, I'm starting to realize more and more how much I need people, just in general. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm an introvert, and I don't mind being by myself.
Right.
Like, don't get me wrong. I do not
love
mind
being by myself.
I don't mind being by myself, but and my job is to be able to read energy and feel energy. You can't spend too much time by yourself and expect to be able to read and feel energy.
Exactly.
So you got to stay sharp. So my way of doing that, even if it wasn't in person, I did a lot of the lives. I did as many as I could to try to like exercise. That's how I felt. It was like exercising my mind, trying to stay sharp and just stay social with people, man.
Yeah,
honestly.
I saw you did the Club Van Homes. You did, a lot of the lives on Instagram and stuff like that.
Yeah, man.
But it's not the same as being in the club and actually get to feel the people and, get that energy back.
Because us is like, when it comes to what we do, it's like we do what we do because we want to basically like affect people, and we get that instant gratification. So when I'm playing music, I'm playing music. I want to see people dance. I want to see people smile, have a good time, and it's hard to do that when all you're looking at is a screen. The same with radio, though. Don't get me wrong. Like but that's what helped me with the lives was doing radio because it seems like a big party when you're listening. It's usually one or two other people in the room. How we are right now. You know what I'm saying? You don't really know who's listening, so you can't read the vibe to say, okay, should I switch this? Am I doing all right? But reading the comments and being engaged, it definitely helped. Definitely helps.
Okay, good. All right. So let's see. SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, wherever the fuck you get your podcast. I am there. Domino Effect Podcast at gmail.com. For any comments, questions, or concerns, if you want your question answered by me or one of my guests that's on the show, you can reach us there. That's Domino Effect Podcast at gmail.com. So we're going to try to get into all of Santo's business while we're here. I don't know how long we're going to be here. G, just gave us the studio. We could just be here as long as we want. So
it's the most controversial podcast, huh?
Yeah, man. I've been almost sued. Niggas been...
Congratulations.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't give a fuck about y'all. But it's like I've been almost sued. I've gotten to not fist fights, but verbal altercations with people. I guess a couple opinions they didn't like or something I said on the show they didn't like. But I don't really give a fuck at the end of the day.
All right.
But it is. I ain't going try to get niggas fired or nothing. But I do have an opinion on Chris Webby that I need your help with though. But we'll talk about it. I guess at some point, right?
No doubt. So
let's start from the beginning. Santo, where you from?
I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Bridgeport. See. Bridgeport, man.
Yeah.
Now, how's it growing up for you in Bridgeport?
Growing up in Bridgeport, for me, I felt like the reason why it was beneficial for me and why I love Bridgeport is because it's close enough to New York where you can feel the New York culture, but you don't have to be a part of all the madness.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because I was going a lot. I was, listen, for me personally, being a DJ, listening to Hot 97 when I was growing up definitely affected me and my love for music and how I approach DJing and everything like that. So it's like, there's a lot of cats from Hartford that don't get Hot 97 when I realized they don't get the that same effect when they hear "Hate Me Now" by Nas, and then when I do, you know what I'm saying? Because I remember when Flex dropped 100,000 bombs on that, and he wouldn't turn it off. You know what I mean? So it's like those moments I'm grateful for, but then at the same time, and I can go visit, but at the same time I can come, and it's a little bit more quiet. And outside of that, man, I just think that Bridgeport, Bridgeport has a reputation. Whenever I would go out and I would say I'm from Bridgeport, I would get a look I'll be in New York, they'd be like, oh, Bridgeport, that's like Brooklyn or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'm just but I enjoy, being able to set whatever expectation they have, I enjoy being able to represent and be like, nah, that's not all it is. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of talent that comes out of Bridgeport, and I enjoy being a part of that.
But your experience with Bridgeport also, it depends on what side of Bridgeport you grew up on.
Yeah, no doubt.
Now, what side did you grow up on?
I mean, I grew up on the West for the most part.
Okay. Because I know, for the 90s era, the North End was the place to not go, and then as time went on, the East and the East Side was the place not to go. Now, how did you avoid that trouble on the West End, though?
I just never really was, like I mentioned earlier, I was, I'm an introvert naturally. I'm not really, being outside and everything like that wasn't really my thing. You know what I mean? I always kind of kept to myself, but I always hung out with people that were older than me. And I felt like that was another advantage because I listened more than I talked. And I managed to kind of just, I got by because I wasn't really trying to look for too much attention. I wasn't trying to be anything that I wasn't, you know what I mean? So I was always into music, you know what I mean? So if you ever saw me around, I had some headphones on more than likely, and I'm listening to some fire shit that I shouldn't have been listening to because I was probably too young to be, playing fucking DMX's first album or whatever it was. But that's what I was into. I wasn't really into none of the bullshit that was going on.
Okay, so what kind of music did you grow up on? Was it like strictly rap music? Was it R&B, soul, gospel? Like what?
It was hip hop. So my mom, I give a lot of credit to my mom because my mom is young enough where while I was growing up, her favorite album is Paid in Full. Rakim and Eric being Rakim. So, you know, so I'm growing up listening to, like I said, Hot 97. It's not,
Lucky.
you know, thank God, because that really, really helped me. You know, even now to this day, my mom would be like, yo, you know Eminem dropped a new song, right? You know, like our dog's name is Marshall. He's named after the greatest rapper. You know what I'm saying? So,
that's your greatest rapper of all time.
I mean, I'd say, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, we'll talk about it, but go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Nah, I mean, yeah, Eminem, you know, Eminem, we don't have to, do you want to talk about it?
I mean, we can talk about it. I definitely want to talk about it because, like,
do you want to talk about
it? Nah,
it?
because Eminem is definitely in my top 5 favorite rappers, but I feel like with the past maybe 3 or 4 albums he put out, he's fallen off my top 10 list because I haven't been feeling his last few albums. I think the last good album that he had was probably Recovery, which was listenable.
Mm-hmm.
Everything since then, I don't know what the fuck Eminem is doing. I don't know why he's trying to rhyme all these words. I don't know why all these punchlines are so corny. And I just feel like he's a nigga past his prime and he keeps rapping just to show people he can rap. It's like, I can put these words together. I can rhyme orange with door hinge and all this shit. It's just to prove something. It's not to actually like further the game. And like when you do stuff like that, you're hurting your legacy. I don't get it. At this point,
you know what? I respect your opinion because you just brought up rhyming orange with door hinge.
Yeah,
and only in Eminem, like somebody that's actually like into the culture would understand.
My nigga,
you know, bringing that up. You
when
know what
I
mean?
first heard that
orange
shit,
is the word that you can't rhyme. I don't know if anybody else knows that.
Shit, and it blew my mind when he did. I was like, oh shit, this white boy's a fucking genius.
But I mean, obviously, we can agree that technically his skill level is alien-like, right? My thing as far as like, you know, to defend him in the last few attempts that he's made to drop music, I just feel like he already met, you know, the expectation that he needed to meet to prove who he is, and everything else after that is just icing on the cake. It's just extra. So he doesn't, in my opinion, he doesn't have to make another song in the world and another song ever again. And there's a lot of rappers like that, Jay, that don't Nas, they don't have to make music because they've already contributed enough for us to love them and consider them to be legends. Now, if they want to try to, you know, experiment, you know, if they're feeling like, you know what, let me try this. Let me pick up a guitar. Let me work with this producer. Let me work with Rick Rubin instead of working with Dre. I give him the freedom to do that because he's earned that. Now, if the music comes out where we don't love it like we did the old stuff, listen to the old stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what rapper said that, but it was like, yo,
I feel you.
You on my old shit? Listen to my old shit. You know, so I give him the creative freedom to keep going. And some of the stuff I like, some of it I don't. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie. That's what everybody. You know?
Yeah, but you don't. Okay, I feel like the only person that we can compare Eminem to is Jay-Z when it comes to rapping ability. And I guess it's just accolades and stuff like that, right? I feel like with Jay-Z, he's either like he's evolved every time he put out a project or an album or decided to get on a track with somebody. You can like hear the growth in the bars, or like you can hear like something has changed or like his mindset at the time. I feel like with Eminem, he's just bored and just raps and just put shit out. And then he's a human cheat code where it was like, if Eminem drops something, it's gonna do 1 million. Like if it's a single album, whatever, it's gonna do numbers just because it's Eminem.
Yeah.
I feel like he's ruining his legacy when he keeps putting out.
But
albums.
I'm not talking about. I want to bring numbers into this conversation.
I don't like the number game either. But I'm just saying when niggas do that shit where it's like, oh, Eminem dropped something platinum next week.
Like to try to defend him. I mean, like I wouldn't be like, oh, but look at the numbers he's putting up, because that's not really the conversation we having. You know what I'm saying? We having like,
I fuck with you.
You know,
yeah, I fuck with you.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, and I respect some of the stuff he puts out, and some of the stuff I'm like, damn, I could have did without. But who am I to be like, nah, you shouldn't have dropped this?
I could have went without the last 2 albums. Like,
but it's like, but there's some people that enjoy it too, though. So at the same time, it's like, why stop putting out music? Shit, you got another 10 albums in you? Shit, put them out.
He got another 10 album because there's still words out there. It's not like he's bringing anything new. Like, tell me an Eminem album in the last 5 years that has replay value. Like this, I can't think of one.
All right, but you could also, you know, that's one form of music. But like the reason why I love Eminem, I'm not gonna lie, I don't jump in the car right now and my first thing is to go to Eminem.
Bitch, I'm a kid.
But if an Eminem album drops, it's like a movie that drops. So think about how many classic movies we could talk about that you don't watch more than once, but you know, you enjoyed the experience when you watched it. You know what I'm saying? So there's movies like Forrest Gump we could keep watching over and over and over and over. You know what I'm saying? That's Illmatic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's but there's also other movies that you watch them, you enjoy for the art that it is. Doesn't mean you're gonna go back every day and watch Braveheart. You know what I'm saying? You're not doing that. You know what I mean? But we're not gonna act like Braveheart wasn't a classic. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. When I hear his albums, I just feel like it's an experience, like a movie experience. Like
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna act like when the Eminem album drops, like the world don't stop. It was like, all right, I gotta hear this shit just to hear what one of my favorite rappers is saying. But then when I listen to it,
that's exciting. That's what that's
disappointed.
That's a part of the reason why I love him, because of that feeling right there. You know what I'm saying? With like, I gotta stop whatever I'm doing and I gotta have a listening session. There's not too many albums that come out and artists that do that where I gotta stop what I'm doing and be like, okay, let me, because if the next day comes around, I don't want to be the person that's not in the loop.
Yeah, it might be like,
you know what I'm saying?
If I could really,
Kendrick is one of those for me.
Yeah, it might be like 5 artists that I could think of off the top of my head that like if they drop something, I'm like, all right, hold up, whatever's going on, I gotta stop. Let me listen to this shit. It might be like J.M., Big Crit, maybe Method Man, and maybe Kendrick.
Crit in there?
Crit's one of my favorite artists. Like,
I like that's the thing with Crit too, is like I like early Crit too.
Yeah.
You know, I like early Crit
like
too.
There hasn't been a Big Crit album that, well, let me say not album, but mixtape that's dropped that I haven't like. Maybe his album with Def Jam wasn't really fucking with. You know, they tried to make him commercial or whatever. His last album that dropped, I fuck with. But yeah, it's not too many artists that I'm like, all right, I gotta stop what I'm doing and listen to this shit because it just dropped at midnight or whatever the fuck.
Well, I'm glad you gave Eminem the respect to at least.
Nah, Eminem
you
gets
we
my
don't have to like not be friends.
respect.
You know what I mean? This is early in the podcast to be disagreeing already. Like, you know what I mean?
So now your mom, she listening to like Paid in Full and you know all that early hip hop stuff.
Tupac's greatest hits and you know Changes.
Listening to fucking Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey. So I'm growing up with that. So is that where your love of music came from? Like your mom's taste of music?
1,000%. 1,000% that, and then you know, my pops, he would let me steal a tape from him and replace it with another tape.
Gotcha.
He'd be like, yo, as long as you don't tell your mom. So that's why I'm walking around with the Walkman listening to music I shouldn't be listening. She's thinking I'm listening to the music that we bought at Walmart. You remember when Walmart? It was the clean version?
Yeah.
So she's thinking like, okay, whatever. But I'm like, you know, I'm listening to all the explicit. So what he would do, shout out to Freddie Fred, what he would do, he would go to Riff Raff Records in Bridgeport in downtown every week, and whenever the new releases came out, he would instantly just buy whatever it was. So I got the opportunity to listen to it. That's what I'm saying. So it's like Big Pun, Capital Punishment, you know, Harlem World. Like that's, you know, Nori's first album, N-O-R-E. Those are the albums that are like my top 10 albums because that's like the era that I fell in love with hip hop was around that time. So my mom was listening to Paid in Full, but I was listening to DMX because of my pops, you know what I mean?
Right. Now, my mom, I think she was ignorant to rap music at first, where like when you hear your 8-year-old son walking around the house talking about Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
I mean, it's a fact.
It's a fact though. But then like I remember we had gone on a trip somewhere and we was in the airport and I went to some record store that was in the airport. And I remember Marshall Mathers LP had dropped. Now they had the dirty version and the clean version. I already had the dirty version. I can't remember for the life of me how I got it, but she bought me the clean version. And I remember the clean version and the dirty version had 2 different songs on it. The dirty version had Kim on it, and the clean version had Kids on it. There's a song called Kids where it was like Eminem replaced the song Kim with Kids, and it was like a spoof on South Park or whatever. He was just like, it's a weird ass song. But
I'm kind of mad I don't know that though.
You don't know that? Oh shit! I got something on the fucking DJ,
mad
nigga.
I don't know that though.
Nah, you gotta hear this shit. There's a dirty version out there if you look it up on YouTube, but.
I had the first Eminem album clean though, but they didn't have no alternate versions. It just had like I never meant to give you shrimps, girl, like it was in like reverse.
No, but it was like he did like 2 or 3 verses, and one of them he's like mocking like South Park, because South Park was big in like 98, 99 or whatever. Okay. And he was mocking that because you can't put Kim on a clean version.
No.
So you can't do that.
I was like, she's a hoe. Yeah. Ho. Oh, yeah. I had the Ludacris joint, and it didn't even have the song on there.
Like this motherfucker killed 3 people on that record, and then put her in the trunk and duct taped it. Like it's wild shit.
It wasn't that bad. No.
Shut up. I mean, for like a fucking what? How old was I? Like 12, 13-year-old me. That shit wasn't bad at all. But for her, if she knew I was listening to what I was listening to, she'd have probably took that shit.
She
But
probably thought something was wrong with you. Like, what is wrong with you?
shout out to my mom for not knowing shit. Appreciate you. So now you're the third, right? You're Santos the third, right?
Yes.
So was your grandpops in the music? Your pops too?
Nah, my grandpops is he's a pastor now. He lives in California. I haven't really spent too much time with him. So I he wasn't really in my life too heavy like that. Like I said, I think it was just more my influence was just, and when I say my pops, it's really my step pops. But he like raised me. So Freddie Fred, shout out to you. He raised me. But my real father was always there too, and but cars was his thing. I'm not really into cars. I drive them.
Right.
Something breaks something and send it to somebody to
I
fix
don't know a lot of
it.
Puerto Ricans that's not in the cars.
I'm not in the cars, and I'm not. And believe it or not, I'm not into sports. I'm not in the cars, and I'm not in the sports. I'm just in.
Wow, you're not into sports either?
Nah, man.
I know a few niggas that's not into sports, but I guess it's an introverted
The big
thing.
events, I can fuck with a Super Bowl.
Yeah, niggas will watch a Super Bowl or like a NBA Finals.
I know the
shit.
rules of all the games. I mean, I'm not. You know what I mean? Like I used to, play
Like
baseball
have you ever
and shit.
tried to play, or you just like nah, I'm like not into
I just
shit
never
at
really.
all?
Yeah, I just never really gravitated to it. Honestly.
Okay. So now, how'd you find DJing? How was that your passion? When you realized you like music, when did DJing come into play though?
Well, the DJing started before I even knew what DJing was. It was just like, and even now, the reason why I DJ is, I talk about this to be able to just to share music. So I was sharing music before I knew what a DJ was. And what I mean by that, like all these albums that I was just discussing, when I would listen to the albums and I would hear songs on the albums that wasn't, on the radio or on MTV or anything like that, I would get excited that I heard something that other people didn't know. So I would get like a thrill off of making like a mixtape and, putting all these songs together, and I would give them out as gifts. And I would love the reaction that people would get hearing songs that they might not have been familiar with and enjoying them. You know what I mean? Like I like that feeling of giving. And so even with my friends, like we was talking about a second ago, making an event out of when the album came out, I love that part of, that's why I like the DJ. So as time went on, and I was doing that, I was in love with music. I started to make music. And, right around the time where I was making music, we had like a group, shout out to Eli, ODL. We was making music all self-sufficient, you know what I mean? Like my man ODL already was on it because he had like the advanced technology class in the tech or whatever. So,
Right.
He had the computer set up and he had all the programs. So we would record songs ourselves. And then for me, it was just kind of like the DJing came around because it was something that I just felt like I was better at than actually making music. You know what I mean? So
when you say making music, you was producing. Or you
I was
an
rapping.
artist? You was a rapper?
Yeah. I was,
What was your rap name?
yeah. Oh man. Well, I mean, it wasn't a rap name though. It was a DJ name when I was rapping at the time. It was Venomix.
Venomix?
Yeah.
That shit trash.
Venomix. Why? Because my mix was venomous.
That shit trash.
You know what I mean? So that's and then I was like, fuck it. You know what I mean?
shout out
Fuck
to
this
that,
making
though.
music shit. I'm
You
just
try. I mean, like
play some other people's shit.
I feel like if you like music, if you ain't try to rap, you don't really like music that much.
Honestly, I don't trust you if you're gonna sit here and try to explain to me that you never wanted to go to the studio and lay down something.
Like if you ain't
If you don't have at least 8 bars in the cut, not right now, but maybe at some point in your life, you had to have.
No, you remember your
feeling
first
of
8 or
Wanda.
16.
You gotta have something in the
You
top.
remember your first 8 or 16?
Nah, I don't know.
Nah, you know.
I don't know. I'm trying to think right now where would I even be able to grab that from? Because I know I got some stuff recorded, but all that stuff is far, far in the hard drives, my man. Far in the hard drives.
Venomix.
But yeah, my pops, the DJing just kind of came along. 'Cause actually, this is how it happened. Eli, my brother, came with a Source magazine one day and was like, yo, the back of the Source magazine that had like the packages. Everything that I'm talking about right now, for the most part, if you a certain age, you probably are like,
Don't
what
know
the fuck is he
shit.
talking about? But the Source magazine, it was a magazine, first off. Magazines were paper that were printed.
Your paper that you have to turn the page.
Okay.
Wash
It was a book, and at the end of the book,
turn the page and wash your hands.
it was like, well, they had jewelry at the end of the book. Remember they had like the no limit pieces and all that shit.
I bought some.
And then they had,
I bought
yeah,
some.
me too. And then they had the DJ packages, and we got like $150 DJ package, and then that's kind of how it started. You know what I mean?
Now, how do you get your DJ equipment? Like, how did you learn how to DJ? I mean, that's not like a skill that you just see one time. Like, oh, I can do that.
Well, luckily there was records. Shout Eli's Step Pops. he was a DJ back in the day, and then my step pops was a DJ back in the day. So there was a record. So, you know, we would first off we started with like a regular turntable that we had at a tag sale. It's like $10. Not a turntable, it was a record player. Excuse me, it was just a regular record player. And
like
then we
that
would
shit
just
right there?
just a regular ass. That's a turntable, but I'm just talking about like a regular record player that you would find in somebody's house.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That you know they were getting rid of, and then we had all these records. We just fucking them all up. Just scratching them and shit like that, you know what I mean? Because that was like, oh, this is what a scratch is. And I'm like, oh, you know, and then you know, just watching like MTV, like DJ Scribble back in the day. You know, he would be on MTV DJing, and honestly, I would just ask a lot of questions too. I was really lucky, man. I was really lucky. That's kind of one of the things that I love about, you know, my story is the fact that like there's so many people involved, and you know, that were willing to, you know, just whether it be share information with me or, you know, or at least have me around so I could basically study. So DJs like Cuba, you know, my man Danny A, I was sub promoting for back in the day, and he had me opening up for DJ Clue when I was like 40 days into DJing and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know, but these are opportunities that I had that definitely helped get me to you know, to have a successful career in this DJ shit, man.
Did you ever think that DJing would take you this far? Like the shit you've seen, the places you've been, the people you've met. Did you ever think that when I started DJing, when I was a teenager or whatever?
Yeah.
You knew?
Yeah, actually. I ain't gonna lie.
I like that foresight.
I did. I was going hard, man. Like I was going, you know, me and my mom back in the day, though, we would bump heads like a lot. You know what I mean? Because I saw the vision. You know what I mean? And for me, like I could taste it because, like I said, like I felt like there was a few degrees of separation. You know, at a real early age. You know what I mean? Like the fact that I could be in these places like the Roxy, you know, DJing in Norwalk. The Roxy is a place in Norwalk, Connecticut, by the way. Back in the day, they used to do a lot of team parties, and there was like 800 to 1,000 people. And to be exposed to that, and I was like, you know what? If I'm doing this now at 14 years old, you know what I mean? Around 21, 22, I could just imagine where I'm going to end up. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where my mind was, you know. Don't get me wrong. Like now, like when I travel, I still kind of like, you know, part of me believed it, but then a part of me is still like, oh, this is unreal, because it's like I still am from Bridgeport, and there still is a mentality, you know, that Bridgeport is just like Bridgeport, and then it's Bridgeport, USA. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's like there's not much outside of that. You know what I mean? It's his own world. So for me to basically like travel and stuff like that, it's kind of like, damn, and I just wish people could see the same shit I'm seeing. Like not even a picture that I could take could explain what I'm seeing. You know what I mean?
Now, do you remember your first set, like ever?
Yeah, actually, I DJ'd at a social club. It was where like it was like a police social club, and my aunt is married to a police officer.
Okay.
So it was like, you know, I don't even know, it was like some bullshit party that they did or whatever. And I had like one crate of records, and I just remember like, why did I take this gig? Like I'm just playing the same crate of records over and over and over.
Now, how
like,
old are you though?
I was like 12, 13, something like that. Yeah.
So your aunt put in a good word of like, hey, my nephew do this, and then you brought the crate and you just playing these.
Yeah, it wasn't like a real event. It was a social club, you know.
Yeah.
What I mean? It was where they hung out. So it was like, okay, they could have the jukebox on, or they could be like, fuck it, like, you know, I can DJ. I guess.
Let this little nigga do something.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, shit, good luck.
Now, how'd you do? Now, how was your nerves? Like, what was you playing? Like, what was the vibe? Like, take me through that night if you remember.
I just remember being like, why did I take this being so unprepared? And then, but that's why I was glad that I did take it, because I was like, you know what? Now I'm not gonna half-ass this. You know what I mean? Because, you know, the way I look at it has always been, it wasn't about necessarily me and how I did. It was like, I gotta prove the person right that hired me, even to this day. You know, so it's like, you know, showing up on time and delivering, like those things are important, not just because for my reputation, it's because if you recommend me to somebody, I gotta make sure that your word is solid, and I gotta show up for you. You know what I mean? So that's always how I felt. Like, so my aunt put her name on the line, even though it was the social club. It's not a big deal.
It's not enough.
But at the end of the day, it's like, still, she did that. She didn't have to do that. So I felt as if this next gig that I do, whatever it is, I don't remember what it was. I only remember that first one because how I felt. I want to make sure that I'm on my shit and I ain't gonna fuck around. You know what I mean?
Okay. Now, were you DJing in high school? Did you DJ a lot of high school parties, a lot of high school functions?
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely did that. A few pet rallies and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was actually skipping middle school to go to high school because all my friends were already in high school. Remember I told you I was hanging out with
you
people
hanging
that
out
were
with
older
older
than me.
people, yeah.
So like I was doing like their pet rally and shit like that and getting like a pass to go do that or whatever because yeah, I was like full at it at that time. Like around sophomore, junior year, I was like DJing like heavy.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Now, did you graduate high school?
Yeah, I did.
Did you go to college?
Nah, I didn't do college.
You didn't do college, so you went straight from high school to just doing this DJ thing full time, or like what's the transition?
Yeah, it was the DJ thing full time. Occasionally there would be a part time job or something that I would have to take. I cashed some checks. Definitely did that. Shout out to ex bankers. So there's even people to this day that come up like, oh, I'll be DJing like, oh shit, you the one that was cashing my check.
Damn, niggas is old.
Yeah, I was cashing your check. I know how much you make. Don't get it fucked up.
Don't get it fucked up, man.
I put this shit on blast. Nah.
DJ Santo came a long way.
It was like bullshit, like factory jobs or whatever. But I never had nothing serious besides DJing.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you have a plan B at that point? Like, did you know, like, in high school or in, like, middle school that, like, yo, this is all I want to do. There's nothing else. There's no plan B. You just said, fuck college. I'm going to just go.
Nah, there was no plan B. It was no plan B. But, like I was talking about my man, Odieli, it was all self-sufficient. So, I knew that even if it wasn't necessarily just DJing in particular, I knew that I was gaining skills and I was building a network so that I was going to be all right. You know what I mean? Because like I was designing flyers. I was skipping English class to be in advanced technology, because I went to a technical school when I first started. Then I went to Bassick after, but that's a different story. But
yeah.
I was like learning how to use Photoshop, and my teacher would teach me how to use Photoshop in high school. So I was designing all my own shit.
Okay.
Even to this day, like I do a lot of the designs for like the Chris Webby tours and everything that we do. That, and then also I was learning how to do video. So there were other skills that I learned how to do. We were recording all of our own music. So I'm like, man, listen, man, this shit gonna pay off one way or the other. You know what I'm saying?
So now you started the All Out Brothers in what, 2006? I want to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Now who do the All Out Brothers consist of? Like, what is everyone doing that?
So basically, the All Out Brothers is more like it's more of a family. You know what I mean? It's just more of a family. It's just the crew that I started with. So like Eli right now, he's selling cars. He's the manager at Colonial Toyota. But he
Asked for Eli.
Yeah, asked for Eli. But he, he was very, very essential to everything because even to this day, I can call Eli and I could be like, yo, I got this idea, whatever the case is, I don't got a name for it. And he'll instantly come up with a name. He's come up with like every name creatively for all of our dope events. And you know what I'm saying? So I have family that I consider to be the All Out Brothers. And when we do business every now and then. But more importantly, it's just that's my fam and they hold me down. You know what I mean? Projo, DJ Projo, that's my partner in crime. He does International Sundays on Hot 937 with me. That's actually my cousin.
Okay.
So we're family in real life.
Like blood. Okay.
Yeah. So he's a part of it, My man DJ Double T. We used to go to high school together. So anybody from Bridgeport, Connecticut, you got to be familiar with who Double T is. Definitely. Because he's incredible. So we just so there's a lot of people that's All Out Brothers that's not even like officially All Out Brothers. You know what I mean? I consider a lot of people All Out Brothers that fuck with me. You know what I mean? So my man Juice Jones, that's my mentor.
Juice Jones, shout out to Juice.
Yeah.
Now, for a kid that went to high school, graduated, but didn't go to college. Now, what's your I guess, advice to someone that has a dream, but everybody keeps telling them they have to go to college, they have to have a plan B, they have to have this to fall back on, just in case this shit don't work. Whatever you fuck with and like to do, don't work.
As far as college is concerned, I just feel like by the time you hit the age where you got to start preparing for college, if you found what you love and what you're passionate about, and it involves, having to get more education and having to get college involved, then by all means, go for it. But even with but if it doesn't, there's real life experience that's going to get you a lot more than college, depending on what field you're in. And not saying you don't ever have to, but there's nothing wrong with taking a little bit of time and figuring it out. You know what I mean? Because a lot of things that you might want to do at 16, 17 years old might not be what you want to do at 20, 21. You know what I mean? Yeah. So to get yourself, locked into that situation where now you got to end up potentially being in debt for something that you felt pressure.
See this nigga?
You felt pressure to be a part, because that's what it is too. It's like society's pressuring you that this is the way that this is done. Just like with girls and how they figure like by a certain age they have to be married
with kids.
You know what I mean? And if you pass a certain age and you're not married or with kids, then you start to get judged. But at the end of the day, it's like you run your timeline of how you. So if you want to meet certain goals before you do certain things, then that's on you. Don't let what the fuck everybody else is doing. And that's, it's cliche to be like, focus on your lane. Don't look to see what everybody else is doing, but it's real. You know what I mean? Because even with me, I think we all struggle with it. Sometimes I got to put the phone down myself to this day. You know what I mean? Like I'll be on Instagram and I'll be like, you know what? Because you start to get discouraged, damn, because you're looking at what somebody else is doing. And when you start to realize that all of that shit is really perspective, it's just really about how you looking at it and what they choosing to show you. And then that's what your perspective of what successful is. But for me, I just feel like being successful is enjoying what it is that you're doing and enjoying every step of the way, even if it means that there is uncomfortable parts. But that's how you learn to appreciate when it gets good. You know what I mean? Because you've had the ups and downs. If everything's all peachy and you taking a ride and you start to feel a little bump, you're not gonna really know how to control that bump if you never dealt with it. You got to basically go through certain things to know how to handle them. So for me, I just feel like the process is, and I feel like I'm really like I talked about that before. You know what I mean? Because it always sounded good to talk about, but I feel like I'm actually fully really understanding it because of this whole quarantine and everything that we're dealing with. When you start to really look back and be like, okay, what have I accomplished? And it's not, okay, where have I DJ? What's my resume? It's, okay, who have I influenced? And you start to look at like, okay, damn, there's certain people that because of me are friends now and they work now and they get money now. Or there's certain people that I've helped employed or I've helped bridge the gap. And those are the things that you got to weigh your success with. So it's not always about, okay, I want to put 40 hours, 60 hours, 80 hours this week. At the end of the week, what is that going to amount to? That's not what it always has to be about. You know what I mean? You got to weigh your pros and cons the way you want to weigh and what your values are, what's important to you. You know what I mean? So sometimes when I get a little tired, I'm like, okay, I got to remind myself, damn, if I slow down now, then what about all the advice I was speaking about when I was with Connecticut Against Violence and there's kids asking me these questions and they looking up to me to help set pave the way. I got to make sure that I'm creating that example, because for me, I don't have kids. So I feel like it's important for me to do my part, at least however I could. I feel like all parents across the board have a responsibility, and it's raising the next generation. You know what I mean? So if you have kids, you have a huge responsibility. My rules of how I live life and your rules could be totally different, because you got to live your life based on, providing for somebody else. So I can never judge you for that. So when DJs, when they talk about undercutting and they talk about all these, I don't judge nobody for the decision they make in their career, bro. You know what I'm saying? You want to go DJ a gig and fucking DJ for a bottle and a hookah, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't get booked for that and you did,
that feel personal.
No. What I'm saying is, if you could afford to do that, then that's on you. What the fuck? I give a fuck about what's in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? I never really understood, figuring out, okay, damn, you
how
got
niggas
paid
be,
this, or you
how niggas be counting other niggas' pockets?
I don't understand counting other people's pockets. Like, what's the upside in it, really? You know what I mean? I just don't understand it.
I mean, all I got from that is Santo don't got debt and he follow his own rules. That nigga he ain't got no college debt. He do what he want to do. He knew what the fuck he want to do. I do what I want to do.
I mean, that's a freedom, though.
That's a freedom that most people don't have. I would say that's a luxury, because it's so many people like myself that want that, but don't have the balls to jump out on a ledge and get that.
And it's because I truly believe it's partly because I don't have kids, because I think if I had kids,
it'd be I would
have made a lot of different decisions. You know what I mean? I could live by a code, and I could basically make decisions, with my gut, because I know, okay, if anybody's gonna starve at the end of the night, it's gonna be me, and I could deal with that. You know what I mean? I'll be all right. You know what I mean? But I don't know if I could live with being comfortable, like, I turned that down, and then I gotta like struggle and feed somebody, like another human being, you know what I mean? So that's different, you know what I mean? I don't have kids, so I can kind of move a little differently.
That brings about a whole different set of issues. So now, I got a bunch of questions now. So now you don't have kids, and we've been on lockdown for maybe since I'll say like March or whatever. It's October. Shit is slowly opened up. We still shouldn't be outside or whatever. Now, as an introvert, how's your mental health? Like, how have you been in this whole pandemic?
It's been tough. I'm gonna tell you this. Part of the reason why we rescheduled so many times was because the whole plan that I had just pretty much got demolished. And I just felt like instead of forcing it, I'm just gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna just take this opportunity. I think the universe is pausing for a reason, and I'm gonna just. It was always an excuse for me. You know what I mean? Let me just put it like, me getting my shit together as far as health, mental health, my personal life. My excuse always, because I've been doing this for so long, since a very young age, was always because I'm running. You know, I'm running, chasing my dreams, quote unquote, doing this. But now I'm like, what the fuck's the excuse not to take some time and focus on myself? So I just decided to say, you know what, everything as far as business is concerned, I'm just gonna hold off until I feel like I'm ready to. You know what I mean? So like, more recently, I kind of been like acknowledging the fact that, you know what, I gotta kind of like take these moments to say, you know what, on Sundays, I'm gonna go visit my pops. Mandatory at least once a week, twice a week, and go chill and literally do nothing besides watch Power. Bullshit like that. Shit that I wasn't doing, that I was too busy to be doing, quote unquote. You know what I mean? So I just felt like now I'm better than I was a few months ago. Just because I'm taking those steps, and I'm actually like, you know what, I'm forcing myself to focus on my health, So I'm doing like the gym and the cardio and trying to eat better, like, quitting the soda and just simple things, but like things that I feel like are not for anybody else, but they're for me. And that was my thing where I realized recently was like, yo, all my time was just contributed towards this, and this shit ain't really even that real. It's not even really that serious.
Nah.
It's really not. When you put it into perspective, it was like, yo, when they say essential jobs, DJing wasn't on the list.
Not.
It's not on the list. You know what I'm saying? So when you start to think about, damn, how important really is this? It's really self-serving. You know what I mean? It's really for me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, fuck all that shit, man. Let me just chill. Let me try to connect with people, and then let me have this conversation as much as possible, like that we're having now, because I know that I felt like it was a point where I wasn't really talking to nobody. It was just me, and then the more and more I started talking to people, I started realizing, okay, it ain't just me. So that made me feel a little bit better. The fact that, like, you know what, we're all kind of going through this, so who the fuck am I to complain?
Right. Now,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I went through that as well, because I do have an essential job, and I was thinking about if I did take that leap of faith and I had a job where I was like, you know what, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to hustle. And, I got kids. So it's like, I'm going to just put myself out there and do what I want to do. But now the world shuts down, and now I got to find a way to feed these kids. But if I did take that leap of faith, they go hungry, something happens, they don't have the proper health care, or it's like something. Now that I'm working still, it's like, okay, everything's still cool. They can still eat. I can provide for myself. And I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. Like, this whole shutdown, I feel like really put a lot of shit into perspective with a lot of people, where it was like, people thought about their mortality more. People thought about their finances more. People just thought about themselves more. They thought about what's important. All this superficial shit when it comes to, I guess, the internet, and I guess when it comes to like people that have to be on the scene. And then for like a lot of introverts, what it did for them is it forced them to sit down. And a lot of I feel like there's a thing where like there's people that's always out. They got to party every week and they got to be on the scene or whatever. They're like running from something, so they have to be on the scene to escape them thoughts. But then when you're forced to sit down, it's like, hey, it's a virus out there, it's a disease out there that's gonna fucking kill you if you don't react to it properly. And it forced them to actually like reevaluate and actually like get into themselves and see what the fuck is wrong, and I guess fix it. Yeah, in a way. But this whole pandemic, I feel like it's been rough on the people that don't have essential jobs, because there's a lot of people that's been laid off. DJs, like for one, like I listened to the Breakfast Club, and DJ Envy was talking about, yo, I can't do shit for a while. Like I don't got nothing to do. He was doing like a fundraiser where it was like he was DJing online. It was like you raising money for other DJs and shit. Where it was like people can't go to the club, so how do DJs eat? That's their only form of income. Like, what the fuck do they do? So now, how was that for you though? Like, how did you actually stay afloat in these trying times? Like, were you responsible with your money before?
I mean, really, yeah, it was just like savings that helped me down, and then yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly. And like, right. I didn't have to really like, I haven't had to, knock on wood, get a 9 to 5 yet.
Yeah.
And hopefully I won't have to do that anytime
Ever.
soon. Yeah, it was my savings that held me down, and then yeah, man, like I said, and then also I'm working on music too, though. So that was another thing too. I was kind of already making the transition from like not having to fully rely on DJing to get by, and it just kind of like stopped me right in my tracks before I really got to really accomplish that goal. So that kind of fucked me up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, but it's not like the music is not there. So the reason why I'm not stressing too much is because I know even though it's not out in the world, I know it's there and it's valuable if it exists. So I got music that's in the hard drive that as soon as things start opening up a little bit more, where I could actually like go out and really promote it, then I'm gonna start putting it out. But that's the reason why I held it, is because I just couldn't. I felt like I didn't have the luxury to just to be releasing music without going out and promoting it. You know what I mean? There's certain artists that had the fan base built to do that. Me just getting back from DJing and going into the producing and releasing music, I just didn't feel like I had that luxury to do that. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait until,
things are back to normal.
Yeah, I can move a little bit. You know what I mean? Because that was a part of the plan. You know what I mean? Like, we had 100 shows, nearly 100 shows booked for this year all around the world, and that was all a part of the plan of how I was going to promote this music, where I was going to target ads and everything like that, why certain music was going to get released at certain times. And I was like, damn, and none of this shit happening, if I still release the music, it's going to be a waste in my opinion. So I'm like, I'm gonna hold it. So I'm holding it right now. You know what I mean?
Now,
making more music too while we at it.
How long you been producing music?
3 years.
3 years or so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rock, Paper, Scissors was my first placement on Annoyed's album, and that was 2017, I believe.
Oh, shout out to you. Oh, shit. Look at that.
Thank you.
Because I remember I don't remember who the fuck it was who was at Hot 937 that was making a mixtape. And they might be the reason why I'm in the studio that I'm in right now. Because it was someone that worked at Hot 937 that used to go to a studio in Brantford. We ain't gonna say the name because we don't promote other motherfuckers. It's only G Studio. And they had locked out, they had like booked a room.
Go ahead.
They had booked a room in the like the downstairs studio of that building.
I leased that studio for 6 months, by the way.
So
that's where I learned how to produce.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that might have been you.
Did I?
I don't know, because at some point, because there's two levels, right? So there's that downstairs studio and the upstairs studio, the one in Brantford, right?
I know I invited a few people while I was over there, but I don't know.
So now, the owner, Mike, he tells me like, yo, you can't use the studio because the dude that works at Hot 937, he can come in here at any point in time and just start recording music and making music or whatever the fuck you want to do. So we had to use the upstairs studio, and something went wrong with the upstairs studio, so it was like, yeah, we got to get the fuck out of here. We ain't fucking with this no more. And that's when I found my man G. So I don't know if it was you.
Nah, yeah, it was, because I had a lease on it.
G, full circle. G in there? G, you in there? Full circle, my nigga.
Yeah, I had a 6-month lease on it.
Full circle. This nigga is the reason why I'm here.
that was 2016.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I've been doing this podcast 5 years.
I was learning how in 2016, and then I was really like showing people beats in 2017.
Yeah, because I was doing a podcast for maybe like 8 months to maybe like a year in that studio, and then the nigga just all of a sudden told me like, hey, you can't use this.
Oh yeah, that was the podcast room.
Yeah.
Because Roundtable was doing that shit over there too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yo, G, he's the reason why I'm here. Look at this full circle shit. On the anniversary, look at this full circle shit, B.
That's what's up.
Fucking nuts, man. Now, so I guess you survived the pandemic, I want to say. Now, on October 31st, you plan on doing like a Halloween party?
Oh, yeah, I'm DJing a Halloween
party.
How
you feel about that, first of all? Like, do you feel safe enough, or is it just like, I need money, I need to be around people? Like, what's your mindset?
So, I mean, I'm not the one putting it together, but it is fam that's putting it together, so I am involved. I'm not going to sit here and fucking lie to you. Like, I am involved, and I did go to the venue, and the venue holds 200. We're doing 75.
Okay.
And half of the venue is outside, even though it's
okay.
It's gonna be late October, but it's a patio. You know what I mean? So, so that kind of made me feel a little bit better, and I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, it's people's decision. Because that was. I'm glad you asked, because a lot of people have been asking me about these brunches. Like, ever since phase 2 came along, they were like, "Yo, what's up with the brunch?" I'm like, "Yo, y'all bugging out. I'm not doing shit.
Niggas don't like to wear the mask, man.
I'm not doing shit." And then more and more people going out. I'm doing like weddings and stuff like that. So I am like, low key like DJing and stuff like that. But I was like, you know what? If I do something, we just gotta make sure that it's right and it's regulated. So I definitely stress that. You know, and also we're keeping it like a secret with the location because we don't want anybody that we don't know that's gonna make sure that the rules are kept. So we don't want just random people pulling up.
Yeah, pulling up.
And then we have to have extra security to make sure that people. Now we want to make sure that everybody there knows each other, and you know, we're all concerned for each other's safety. And there's a common courtesy to be like, all right, let's respect the rules. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why I was like, all right, I could do this.
So at this point, it's not a money grab. It's just, you know.
Nah, it's not a money grab.
Yeah,
it's like, yo, let's do something to, because. And another thing too, Halloween. I haven't been around for the last 5 years for Halloween, and Halloween is always a fun holiday to
get back to
market.
Normalcy. Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's always a fun Halloween to market, to do dope flyers and videos, and you know, even just like the night of, people like having an opportunity to not be themselves, and it's just like it's fun, especially when you do costumes mandatory. You know, people get the opportunity to kind of go out of themselves and be somebody else. So I like Halloween. Yeah,
definitely. Now I wanted to dress up this Halloween, but I don't know what's gonna go on with this whole fucking pandemic and shit. I don't know, like, you know, cases starting to spike now. I don't know how it is in Connecticut, but like surrounding areas where it's like, you know, it's slowly creeping to the East Coast and the New England area. I don't feel that safe going out, but I feel like for my birthday, I want to risk it and go do something. But I just don't know what yet. But I'll figure something out.
Yo, they out here though.
I mean, have you been traveling? In this
I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what, man. Shout out to the West Indians, yo. They've been holding this shit the fuck down for the summer.
Tulum is popping right now.
They've been holding it down, but yeah,
Mexico.
I've been seeing, I've been seeing a lot of, I've been seeing Mexico is like where it's at.
Have you been to Mexico this whole pandemic?
I don't know.
Hell,
I would have started with that.
Yo, I'm just saying,
like yo, by the way, you know what I mean? I just got my COVID test. I'm cool.
Yo,
I just came from Mexico.
My homegirl said, yo, she been on planes after planes after planes for like at least the last 2-3 months. She said she ain't been tested the whole time, like on and off the plane. She ain't been tested not once.
She bugging out.
She bugging
out. I got a test because we did a retreat not too long ago, so I got a test. I had to make sure people I'm staying in a house with. You know, I mean, I had to make sure I was good, you know, for my conscience. I can't just be out.
Yeah.
I can't be out just contaminating folks.
Yeah, you know definitely. I had a scare maybe like a month or two ago where I was like, I was in contact with somebody that might have been in contact with somebody that might have had the thing. So it was like, I got to quarantine for like 2 weeks. That shit wasn't fun at all.
What that's doing to us is so crazy, man. Like our anxiety, like I was doing like the past few gigs that I did, bro.
The way people look at people is wild.
Yeah, it's
now.
like it's so awkward too. It's like, how do I approach? You know, do I pound or do I, or like, okay, like the mask and you know what I mean? And just like that, you know, that anxiety. The last few gigs I did, I felt real anxious.
It used to be if you was black motherfuckers across the street, like white people across the street, just because they scared of you. Now it's just like any race of motherfucker. If you don't have a mask on, they're just across the street just because they scared of catching COVID.
And it's not even just anxious, because of. Okay, I'm you know, catching the. No, it's not even really about that. I think it's just being an introvert, not being around people like that, and then being around people. Nothing to do with the virus. The virus gives you some sort of anxiety, but just seeing people again, you know what I mean? And having to be social and be like, you know, and having to have that like a conversation and shit like that in person. It's like, oh shit, this is kind of awkward. Like
scared of the conversation.
I haven't done this in a while.
I don't know what you got. It's kind of.
I'm used to talking to a fucking screen.
Yeah, exactly.
For the last 6 months.
I mean that's been a lot of people's reality for a while now, where people are scared to go out. Now, being that you work for Hot 937, you haven't been back to the studio since what, like March or late February?
March, yeah.
March, you haven't been back to the studio. So now everything is a Zoom call. Everything is over the internet. Now, how do you think that's gonna? Now, matter of fact, when are y'all going back to the studio? Is there a timetable at all?
We're hoping the part timers can get back by the first quarter of next year.
Okay.
And then also, right now, the booking agents are the booking agent that we're dealing with Webby, with Chris Webby, they're kind of planning for April, May. So we have like a bunch of tentative shows for April and May, like a whole tour pretty much lined up. And we're just waiting for that time to come around just to make sure that it's always going to be all good. And if it ain't, then we have to reschedule again. But this is like the 4th time that we've scheduled a tour in the same area since it started, since March. So, you know, then when they're telling me it's like, yo, that's what they schedule, I'm like, man, that shit don't even mean shit.
It don't.
I'm like, okay.
At all at this point.
Like, okay, it's scheduled. That don't mean it's happening.
Right. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Anything can
it's
go
like a Kanye West album.
I mean,
scheduled. That don't mean it's happening.
Dog. Yeah, when you talk about the fall from grace, my nigga, like that. Oh man, I miss the old, like I'm dead ass Mr. Old Kanye. Cussing out niggas just like, hey, George Bush don't care about black people. Beyonce got the best video of all time. I miss somewhat.
So you're not even talking about his music. You're talking about his.
I'm just talking about his
personality versus
his mental state. I feel like ever since his mom passed, he just been off the rails and just I don't know what's going on with that man. So now, International Santo, what's your favorite place in the world to travel besides this godforsaken fucking U.S. of A?
I love Canada. I love Australia. I think probably was up there.
Australia.
Yeah, man.
How long is that flight? Ain't that like an 18-hour flight or some shit?
Yeah, dog. Yeah, I didn't know anything about what was gonna happen. With the time and everything.
Yeah.
And we left like Sunday or something like that, and landed like Tuesday.
So y'all time traveled?
We dead serious. It's like a whole day ahead over there.
Niggas in a Marvel film. Niggas the fucking quantum realm.
I remember like, wait, what? I'm like, wait. I'm like, hold up, this is crazy. I remember it was my sister's birthday when I was out there, and I had to wish her a happy birthday like a day ahead of time. Or some shit, whatever it was. It was day behind, day ahead. I don't even fucking remember, but yeah, it's pretty far.
Okay. So
Australia was cool. I think there's some spots in Europe that I really liked. I think Amsterdam for obvious reasons.
Right.
You know, Germany for some more obvious reasons. Yeah. Not so obvious as Amsterdam, but
I mean, I get you.
Yeah.
I Google stuff. I know. I be knowing stuff.
Toronto's a big one though. I said Canada earlier, but really specifically Toronto.
I heard
it's because Toronto got a scene, bro, that I didn't really like. I went to the club. Put it like this: I went to the club and I DJ'd a set somewhere, and I thought I did all right. You know, I got off the set, dog. The DJ that went on after me just started playing like Caribbean music, but not like the bullshit, like real, like okay. I'm like, oh wait, what? I could have did this. I could have went here with it.
Yeah.
And like the scene was real versatile, real Caribbean out there, and I like that about Toronto.
That's what I heard about that part of Canada, where it was like they got a real like Caribbean, like it's a lot of Caribbeans out there, and they really vibe to the music.
Dancehall was heavy, and then not only that, but Afrobeat too. You know, this is like when the Burner Boy was just like kind of bubbling.
I mean, when they talk about Drake, they say that's where a lot of Drake influence come from, where it was like he do like the different dialects and voices when he be rapping and shit. It was like, no, that scene is really out there. So Drake ain't just like faking the funk just for the sake of like trying to catch everybody in his music. It was like, nah, he probably grew up with that shit.
Nah, it is, because I remember like hitting, you know, the A records at the time, like the most popular records, with like hip hop records, and I remember that they weren't even half as effective as just like the 90s, 2000s dancehall, and I was like, oh damn. Shout out to Toronto for that. You know, I really felt like I was in like an old house party back in the day, like a basement party. That was like the vibe that I had, and I was like, I love that.
Now, when you hit these new spots that are like outside of like Connecticut or outside of your norm, do you still get nervous?
That's an interesting question, man. That's an interesting question. I actually, the reason why I started producing was because I stopped getting nervous. And so like now I get more jittery and I get more nervous playing one or two people a beat or a song in the studio than I do playing for hundreds of thousands of people. Because that's like second nature for me, and this is like something that I'm not as well versed in as I am in the DJing. So for me, I just, that was kind of why, because I remember specifically it was Hot Jam, whatever the year the Migos performed. I don't even remember what it was, a few years ago. And it was a Hot Jam was a Hot 937 concert where it's at the Xfinity Theater. It's 20,000 people, and I did like an hour set, bro, that day because the Migos were late. And I remember before I went on, you know, you think your whole career and your whole life is built up to be like, yo, for moments like that, you know what I mean? To be able to have those moments where you could, you know, you can't even see people anymore because they're ants. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, like that type of vibe. And I remember like not even really feeling any butterflies before I went on like that. And I remember doing it. I blacked out when I did it. Don't really remember much of when I was on stage. And then when I got off, it just wasn't as satisfying as I thought it was going to be. You know, like my whole life, I just thought it was going to be this feeling. And I didn't get that feeling. I felt like, man, something's wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? Like there was definitely, because I would get that feeling, DJing regular parties, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or DJing on the radio for the first time and things like that. So when I had that opportunity, I'm like, damn, why didn't I get that feeling? I'm like, nah, there's something wrong with me, So I had to like really do something, and that was also at a time where like the business was starting to get overwhelming. I'm not even gonna lie, there was a lot going on. I had just first started touring around that time. And nobody really told me how to prepare for touring. That like when you go out there, like make sure your shit's together at home, because if not, everything might fall apart. So there was a lot going on, and I just like, you know what? Let me lease the studio. You know what I mean? And let me dive into this and let me learn how to do this. So I mean, but now after producing, now I started to get that feeling back. You know what I mean? Because now it's like that playing music for people feeling again. I started to get back in the studio, and I'm like, okay,
right.
Now I want to not just playing beats for people. Now we making records now. Now I want to play these records for people. You know what I'm saying? And see how they react to it. So I'm getting that energy back.
Yeah, I recently did that with this this podcast where I took a break where I was like, I'm not doing shit that got to do with podcasting at all. I'm just gonna take a break, recalibrate. Try to get shit right with my mental health and shit that's going on in my personal life, and just like just take that me time. I'm kind of I don't know if I teeter the line of introvert and extrovert. I don't know, but it's like I'm on that line where it's like I need time for me, but I also need to be outside.
Yeah, for you, same shit.
So it's like I just had to take that time recently where it was like shit was getting too much, and I was like, I don't know if I'm depressed or I'm just like really really sad, because I feel like there's like two types of depression, where it's like the situational depression and there's like the chemical imbalance depression. I feel like so much shit was happening in my life where I was like, I gotta sit the fuck down. Yeah. It wasn't like I need pills or no shit like that, where it was like that's gonna get me back to
like
I
pain.
Needed.
It wasn't like you had to deal.
Yeah, it wasn't like a
trauma and things like that. It was more
like I wake up and I just can't get out the bed and that type of shit. But it was like I just need to get right. I need to focus and just something's off, and I need to figure out what the fuck is off. Yeah. Now you finally figured out what was off, like why you felt that type of way when you started producing. Now, what gives you more of a high, I guess, now these days? Is it the DJing aspect or is it the producing aspect?
Well, it's both. It's both. I mean, I enjoy DJing, but I enjoy DJing when it doesn't feel like work. Certain gigs feel like work. So like weddings and stuff like that. That's I'm showing it to a job. Yeah. When I'm doing a wedding, I mean, this is this young lady.
Do they pay better though?
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. So it's like,
of course. So yeah. No, we're gonna do the weddings.
Yeah. The fucking.
We're gonna do the weddings.
Bride and groom want to hear what they want to hear.
Certain weddings are fun. if they know me. And they're familiar with me and they're like fans of what I do on the radio or something like that. Then it's a little different, because I don't have to win them over like that. You know what I mean? But when you get a recommendation from somebody and it's a wedding and they just went to your website and filled out a form, and you know what I mean? It's like,
that's
and then you got to do the whole meeting, and then it's like, all right, now I got to be professional. Yeah,
that's when.
Well, people that know me and they know the type of music I play, it's like, okay, you get it. You want a club for your wedding. You know what I'm saying?
That
you don't want the
traditional. Contrived.
Yeah, so I mean, but with the producing, it's just fun hearing something that, first of all, you heard in your head, then it's like a newborn baby, where it's just like it just has all these phases to where it could end up potentially being out in the world and then people enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? Like that process is the fun part for me. So it's not just sitting down, opening up Ep.118 and like, okay, it's just like doing something and then doing like, okay, damn, I can't wait till Annoy gets his hands on this, or so-and-so gets their hands on this, and then they could bring it to another level that I didn't even picture. And then, so I just enjoy that process of creating, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you, because I'm the exact same way. Now, you mentioned before that, going on tour, you got to make sure that everything is right at home before you actually, like, get into that tour life. Now, are you allowed to have, like, a relationship on tour where it was like you gotta foster that relationship but still be able to perform on the road but leave like your significant other for like months at a time?
I haven't really had to deal with that. I've been single for a while just because of that. I don't really like to explain myself. So it's like everybody says they get it. But they, but at the end of the day, whether you get it,
that shit sounds nice.
Yeah, like whether you think you get it or you might like you might get it like logically, like, okay, like I get this is what you do, but at the end of the day, it's like we're all human beings, and like we talked about before, we all have our needs, you know, and when it comes to women, man, they need a certain amount of attention and they need a certain amount of security, you know, and that comes with the attentiveness, the secureness, you know. So when you out and doing your thing, you know, for me, I like to give things my undivided attention. So like with this podcast, for instance, my phone, I can't even tell you what my phone is, actually. That's my point, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's exactly my point. I literally can't even find my phone. But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is like, when I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Right. You know what I mean? And anybody that knows me, they contact me if they don't get a text right back, or they don't get a you know, an answer, they understand it's because I'm busy, and then I'll get back to them. Right. But you know, when you have a relationship, it's not, you don't get that privilege. Like that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's just like, man, doing the road. I've been on the road where, you know, my guys on the road, they got to deal with that, and I be feeling bad because I'm like, it's hard to really deal with being on the road and dealing with at home, because you want to make sure that everybody's happy. You know what I'm saying? So you got to split yourself up. You know, you got to divide some of your attention to what's going on at home. You also got to make sure that you're healthy enough to be able to deliver for the person that's paying for that ticket. And my thing is this, man, like, there's a lot of people that when they go out to events, you know, they going out. There's some people that had to find babysitters, you know, had to, you know, probably plan for a month ahead of time, had to call out of work. Might be their birthday. They waited the whole year to come around and celebrate their birthday. They might have just graduated. You know, something bad might have happened in their life where they want to, you know, go out and occupy their mind for a little while to kind of forget about what's happening. So all of these things could be going on. If I decide to be selfish enough to focus on whatever's going on with me and give you a half-ass show when you paid to see me, I feel like that's a disservice to you. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's how I was kind of like, you know what? I can't keep doing that, though. Don't get me wrong. That's why I was like, let me transition and try to do something with the music where, you know, I could basically relieve some of that time and focus on my personal life a little bit more, and focus on maybe settling down and stuff like that, and having that income coming in from the music rather than having to focus on go get in the bag. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of going to get the bag. I'm gonna be honest with you. The bag need to come find me at this fucking time. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, I'm not there yet. You know what I mean? So it's like, until I get there, then I'll put my energy and time into doing the whole relationship thing. Like seriously. You know?
Now, what are DJ groupies like though? Like I guess every faction of like a tour or like the entourage has their type of groupies. So like the artist has his groupies, you know, the hype man has a groupie. What are DJ groupies like? If you can talk about it.
So we probably get the leftovers. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say who. I can't even go to what the totem pole is.
No, don't even like wanna, you know, say names.
You know what I'm saying?
In trouble, you know.
I ain't even gonna really go with but yeah, the DJ probably get the leftovers. I ain't even gonna lie.
DJ get the leftovers after you done rock the crowd. You done got the fucking audience ready for the artist or whatever.
See, a lot of people don't understand, right? The DJ, we're not even just touring. The DJ is usually the last person to fucking leave. It's always all fun and games till everybody's out and about. And the DJ then had to pack up all his shit. So mind you, we on the road. Guess what? When y'all motherfuckers finish that show and leave, I'm still sitting there having to pack all this shit up, right? So there's another person that probably done took this opportunity and done swept off while striked while the iron was hot. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say leftovers. I don't mean to be disrespectful. That's not what I meant when I said leftovers. I just meant like, I meant to say like the stragglers, you know what I'm saying? Like the ones that are like, all right, like, you know, they didn't, you know.
Sometimes you gotta take one for the team. Sometimes it's like, hey, you know, she already been had, and it's like, hey, she just here. She here. She leftovers.
That's fucked up.
Nah, it is what it is. We all been there. We niggas been leftovers. We didn't have leftovers. It happens, B.
So yeah, there's some crazy shit that went down on the road. I done seen some crazy shit. I ain't gonna lie. Like I done seen. We talk about groupies. I done seen male groupies.
That's the worst. That is,
bro. I done seen male groupies do shit, bro. It's like I done seen dudes try to line up their girl.
Yo, you can fuck my girl.
To get close to us, yo.
You can fuck my girl, yo. I love you. That's wild.
Yeah, I said us, even though it really was get close to Webby.
With them.
I'm a part of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm in that motherfucker like, yeah, what up?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
Nah, but yeah, it'd be crazy. I'll be like, yo, what is wrong with homie, bro?
But this is Webby in the past life because I think he got a girl now. So this is Webby,
yeah, no doubt.
It's Webby in the past life.
Yeah, no doubt.
So now you're Webby.
Shit, we haven't did any shows in like a year anyway.
Yeah, you know, he's with hey baby, he love you. Said, Chris Webby, call my show. I want to talk. I want to talk to you for like fucking what?
Oh yeah. You said
now.
you had something you wanted to talk to me about.
Oh yeah, with Webby. So now with Webby, right now, I feel like there's
trying to find a safe way to say this.
Not even safe. I don't give a fuck.
Just go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to say like there's a disconnect with Webby and I feel like the state of Connecticut when it comes to black artists and black people. I feel like the black artists that don't know Webby on the outside looking in just look at who the fuck is this white boy in this black art form and he's considered the face of Connecticut rap. But I feel like the people that know him just don't feel like that. Where it was like, nah, Webby rap his ass off, he this, he that. But then I feel like the black consumer where it was like, yo, we love rap, but we don't fuck with what he talking about. He be talking about like pills and college life and just getting drunk and high and whatever. And that's what not all of rap is about to us. But I feel like people want a face of Connecticut rap scene, but they don't want Webby. I feel like the three biggest rappers I feel like two of the three biggest rappers in Connecticut are white and nobody wants that shit. Where it's like Chris Webby, Apathy, maybe Annoyed, or you could switch Annoyed with whoever you want. And it's just like people have a real big problem with that. And I want to know what the disconnect with Webby is with the rest of the state.
So, I mean, you said it. The disconnect is the fact that the content isn't relatable. So this is the thing. It's like, would you prefer that he make the more relatable content but then not be true to himself? Then now, in my opinion, I feel like he won't be respected. So I feel like he's respected, but he's not loved in that community.
Right.
The reason why he's respected is because he's talking about what he knows and because he's nice with the wordplay. But if he, takes that too seriously and is like, yo, you know what? I don't feel that connection with the hip hop community like I would like it in Connecticut. Let me go ahead and team up with this person or that person, or instead of using this beat, let me throw some 808s in this beat or do this. Then that would be appropriate. You know what I mean? Then that would be him, pretty much not being true to himself. You know what I mean? So for me, I feel like even me, before I started touring with him, I didn't really appreciate what Webby was bringing to the table until I saw it with my own eyes. And like you said, when people know, then they know.
Yeah, when you go to a Toes Place show and you see that shit.
When you see it for yourself, then you're like, okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? This isn't just because, this is how the system, decided that it was going to be. It was going to be a white rapper and, nah, it's like, yo, he, at the end of the day, I even ask myself this question sometimes, or I ask him, I'm like, how the fuck you still got words to say? How is it that you still got things? It's like you contributed so many bars, so many lines, so many lyrics. How is it that you still find the motivation to keep talking? You know what I mean? It's just like, yo, he continued to be inspired because of that chip that he has on his shoulder, where he's not fully accepted. So I feel like he's in a sweet spot because he probably wouldn't have the motivation to keep wanting to prove himself if he had that connection like we're talking about. So I think the music is better because he still has that hunger, even though he's doing it independently right now. He has everything set up where, the money is looking right for him right now. And finally, because he set up his situation where it's all self-sufficient and he's doing that. But at the end of the day, he's not getting comfortable still because he still feels like, you know what, I still got more to say because some people still not listening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you can't, like with Eminem, you can't really expect for some people to connect with what they're talking about if that wasn't what they was brought up on. You know what I mean? So, he calls himself the best of the burbs. You know what I mean? So all of these things he talks about gaming, and so he's true to what he's, what his concept is. And I can say that everything that he raps about, it's him. You know what I mean? So it's like either you're gonna accept him for who he is or you're not. You know what I mean? But you're gonna respect him.
Yeah, you're always gonna want to be true. You don't want to make it being somebody else, so you always want to be true to yourself. But I don't know what this disconnect is, where it was like for years, Webby's been putting out mixtape after mixtape, album after album, and people just won't give him the fucking respect he deserves, I want to say. And I can see where people are coming from, and I see both sides of the coin, where I see where Webby and his art form is coming from, and I can see the consumer and where they're coming from, where it was like, I don't want to listen to this shit.
Or is it the consumer really, or is it other rappers?
For the most part,
99% of the fucking consumers in hip hop rap anyway.
Right. For the most part,
that's a part of the problem too. Is like a lot of Webby's following ain't really trying to do what he's doing.
No, because I know a lot of niggas that rap that don't like Annoyed. It was like, why is Annoyed hoisted up in this spot where it was like he's the Connecticut guy? It was like it's sometimes a bunch of rappers, but it's like the average consumer that doesn't hear music, but they just listen to music. The average Connecticut consumer is like, why is he the guy? And I don't, and it's just that we're not in that space where I don't relate to that shit. I don't, feel that shit. It's not, I don't know if Webby's not diverse enough, or he's just, like you said, he's just being him, and it's just like he's gotten this far being him so far, so why would he stop?
That, and then also, I could say this: there's probably about 99.9% of his catalog that everybody in Connecticut is not even familiar with.
Yeah. So
if they heard certain songs, like if I was to do a Chris Webby set right now, and I wanted to do it in front of a bunch of hip hop heads from Connecticut, the exact crowd, I know what to play that's gonna win them over. You know what I'm saying? But you're not gonna know about that because of certain things you might have heard or whatever. So you're not gonna go and investigate. You're not gonna go dig through his whole catalog to find what it is that you like. Nah, like the main shit that he does is catered to his crowd, but he does occasionally do a sway freestyle.
Yeah.
He occasionally does a funk flex freestyle. He occasionally goes to LA Leakers. He occasionally goes, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do this one for anybody that thought and anybody that got it fucked up. You go ahead and rap after me after the sway freestyle, after this 8 minutes that I'm about to put in, and see how that works out for any of these Connecticut or any rapper for that matter. And same with Annoyed. Anybody that wants to say whatever they want to say about his skill, rap next to him.
And most of you niggas can't.
A lot of people can't.
A lot of y'all niggas can't.
You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest. A lot of people can't. A lot of people got their opinion about him, but skill level, there's not a lot of people that could hold a candle to what I've witnessed with my own eyes on how talented Chris Webby and Annoyed are. Not just lyrically when I talk about bars. I'm talking about I've been in the studio with these guys, so I know at the end of the day, melodies too. Webby is a type of artist that writes melodies as well. So anytime you ever heard somebody singing on his song, I'm not gonna name names. Fuck it, I'm gonna name names. Bria Lee or Justina Valentine or a lot of these people that sing hooks. Skrizzly, he's the one penning all of this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he knows his voice. He's realistic, so he's like, I can't really pull this off. But at the end of the day, same with Annoyed. Annoyed could do a whole R&B album right now if you wanted to. So not only can they do a sway freestyle and out rap most of everybody, but they can also make real music too at the same time.
I feel like at the end of the day, it's just content. Because if you like, I hate to compare like white rappers, but I feel like if you were to compare like Chris Webby and Eminem, right? They would hear Eminem freestyle like, oh, he nice for a white boy. Like, this white boy go. I feel like when they hear Chris Webby rap, it's just like, he white. And it's just like, he rap about white shit. And it's just that.
He rap about what he know. You know
he rap about what he know, but it's like, you can't,
So,
He
gonna rap about Sopranos, He's gonna rap about Super Mario.
Right.
If that ain't your shit, then that ain't your shit. You know what I mean? It's like a line. If you never watched Sopranos, how the fuck are you gonna fuck with a line that he's a punchline with Sopranos is different than, if you watch The Wire.
Yeah, if you know
or if you listen to so it's like it just depends on what you like. You know what I mean? But like I said, that part is subjective. But the part that you can't really argue with is
his rapping ability.
His ability just in general to make music, man. Is just
I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. Webby, fuck with me. I don't know what camera I'm looking at. Webby, fuck with me. I just got some questions, man. So now,
and shout out to Annoyed. I think real quick, you mentioned some people not really fucking with Annoyed. Annoyed, also I think is really incredible for obvious reasons, but then also he's just like a really, really good person too. You know what I mean? So like, for anybody to not like Annoyed, you don't know Annoyed.
Oh no, he's a great.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, because he would literally, and like Annoyed got verses probably for like a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like you probably don't even realize he does. You know what I mean? Whether because it's not out or whatever the case is, but he's showing a lot of love. So for anybody in this industry to be giving him a hard time, I don't feel like he's the one. You know what I'm saying? And most recently, I feel like we seeing this because DJ Perfect, shout out to Perfect, just dropped a record. He dropped a remix to Fuck It Up with Sholey, and Annoyed is on that. So it's Snosa, Annoyed, QB, Perfect, Chill Shump did the beat. And I think that was a good move for Annoyed because, you know, I feel like that was helping connect him to where you're saying you feel like he's disconnected in certain places, you know, because that's, you know, we're looking at it from our perspective. And Hartford and where he's from, you know, they got a different opinion on Annoyed. But out here, I've been in studios, like, I'm not just talking out of my ass. Like, I know certain artists that talk about Annoyed in a negative way only because they don't know him or they feel like whatever the case may be. But now him bridging that gap and getting up with Sholey and the whole Show Love and all that shit, I think that's gonna help.
No, them same rappers have been here and said the shit off mic about Annoyed, but they didn't say it while the mic was on. Like,
but everybody like, yo, Annoyed is nice, but like, maybe his voice or, you know, some people have like a, you know,
it's just the shit he rap about that people I feel like they don't fuck with. I feel like when they look at Annoyed, they, you know, they know his background being Caribbean or like his dad is Caribbean, whatever, and him growing up where he grew up. They want something a little bit harder. They feel like what I've heard is like a lot of his shit is like fairy tale and just like kiddish type of shit where it's like just soft. I want to say, you know, not thinking of a better word for it. Where it's like they want something a little bit harder. Where it was like if he go a little bit harder, if he talk about some real shit, he can be out of here. Like Annoyed got that rapping ability where he got that cadence, he got that flow where he could, like, if he just changes one thing or went up a notch, he could be there.
No, I feel like he's definitely like right there, but I just feel like people have a hard time putting him somewhere. Like,
yeah,
people don't know where to categorize him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know, so it's kind of hard to put your finger on the pulse of like Webby. We get it.
Yeah.
You know, Webby's like, all right, it's either you like it or you don't.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know where he going, you know his lane, and that's his lane. Annoyed is kind of like, I could jump in the lane with Webby.
Yeah.
I could jump in this lane with whoever, or you know what I'm saying? So I think with Annoyed, I just think that.
But that's not to his detriment though. That's to his advantage. At this point, where it was like, yo, Annoyed can get on anything.
But from a business point of view, it's kind of tough because, you know, when you talk about marketing,
You don't know how to market it.
yeah, the one thing about marketing is you got to basically try to pinpoint as specifically your target audience to basically promote something. If your target audience one day is an R&B Lucky, and it's, you know, the radio supporting it and chicks are supporting it, but then so you want to keep them happy, but at the same time, the next day you want to do a flex freestyle to make sure that you know the people that like bars are happy. It's kind of hard to market somebody that can do both like that really well.
I say this all the time. With Lucky, he should have been out of here. Like, we shouldn't have hurt. Like, Annoyed shouldn't be nowhere in this stratosphere where he's in if Lucky would have did what the fuck he was supposed to do.
Think about his perspective, right? So, and I don't know it because I don't even know this. I'm just talking about like if it was me, like, okay, so Lucky jumps off. It's a record that's more catered towards the females. If you're naturally in your heart of hearts a rapper, and that's the song that goes, right? I'm sure it's a struggle trying to figure out your next move. Okay, should I continue down this lane or should I just, or would that be selling out like my rap-ism fan base? You know what I mean? So that's why I felt like it was like every time like a Lucky would happen, he would have to do something like a Static Selector album.
Like, you gotta do bars.
You know, he collabed with Static Selector and did an album. You know what I'm saying? This is not the same person that I thought that did Lucky when I first heard Lucky was capable of doing an album with somebody like Static Selector. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for him, it's like, damn, should he keep going and making the radio joints? Or should he like, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna stay true and I'm gonna just do whatever it is I want to do. It's him he's staying true, and that's part of the reason why he ain't where.
I mean, but you can feed every audience though. For every Lucky, you got, you know, just a freestyle here. You could.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah, you could just put bars everywhere. I mean,
You know, but same people that was watching Lucky wasn't watching the freestyle, and vice versa. So
Yeah.
some people that watching the freestyle don't know he could do Lucky, and they not investing into his music. They're like, oh, this kid that is nice with the bars or whatever.
nah. Lucky
Meanwhile,
was
it's
the one.
driving him crazy because he's like, damn, only if y'all knew.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of tough, but whatever.
Yeah, Lucky was the one.
He'll be
man.
all right. He's talented enough.
He's fine.
He'll be fine.
Now, back to you. So now, what's the biggest venue that you've ever done?
I think probably the Xfinity Theater.
Xfinity.
So
Wow.
22,000 people.
Shit. Now, how was that feeling?
Yeah,
Who was that for?
that was for I did it a few times. We did Hot Jam a few years.
Mm-hmm.
RIP to Juice World. I opened up for Juice World one time, and his fans are amazing. I always say that whenever I play Juice World, I'm just like, shout out to his fans because they definitely welcome me with open arms.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was a few. So it was. I ain't gonna lie, yo, dog. That one Hot Jam that Migos was late, bro.
Mm.
I literally DJ'd for like almost over an hour
Mm.
during prime time. Wow,
That's crazy.
22,000 people were there. So it's not like I'm like, yeah, the venue holds 22,000, and then there was 14,000 because I'm opening, and you know,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'll DJ for 22,000
That's
people, bro.
crazy.
And when I'm telling you, bro, that shit was so crazy because I'm looking at people and you know, I gotta read the vibe, you know, so I'm usually looking at people's faces and their reactions and seeing if they're singing the lyrics. But with this, I'm just looking at I'm looking at the ocean.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like,
The
damn,
ocean.
I'm looking at the ocean, so I'm just seeing waves. I'm like, so that's kind of how I was judging. That was a little different for me. I'm like, okay, this is a little different. I'm seeing people in the back looking like ants, just moving like this side to side.
Yeah.
I'm like, this shit's crazy.
Now, at what point in your DJing career did you realize?
And they almost turned on me, by the way. almost turned
when
on
you
me.
played what? What you played that was like kind of off center.
Well, you gotta understand. Well, first of all, Migo's name is on the ticket,
Oh yeah, so
not
they wait.
Santo's name.
Okay, so they
So they almost turned on me getting impatient.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But luckily, I had toured enough at this point where I have been in enough rooms of people who didn't know me and had to win them over.
Mm.
And the way that you do that is to be vulnerable.
Right.
So, you know, I'm rocking all this fucking, you know, big Willie shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Right.
all right, you know, because in the first few minutes, I got my shit playing. I'm like, you know, I feel like I'm Funk Flex up there dropping bombs. You know what I'm saying? With that type
Right.
of confidence, I'm saying.
Right.
And then, you know, I didn't know that the Migos was gonna be late until I'm looking over and I'm like, yeah, yo, keep going.
Mm.
Yo, keep. So now I got a 10-minute set that I planned that turns into an hour or some change.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know what anything, you know, 22,000 people just watching you, like, okay, impress me. It's different than just DJing an hour in the club.
Yeah.
People in the club, you know, they dealing with each other, they socializing, they dancing, they're not worried about who's playing the music. But when you on stage, you better be fucking doing something that's gonna entertain me.
Right.
So they definitely were getting impatient at one point, and I just stopped the music, and I was just like, because I started hearing some rumblings, and I heard some booing coming along, like not booing, but like like
Yeah, like
you know what I'm saying. I just fucking
we
getting
ain't coming
tired,
for this.
right? And I just stopped the music, and I was like, all right, so check this out. Here's what it is. The Migos are late. We all know this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still out here. Clearly, they're late.
Mm-hmm.
They're on their way. Now, we could do this one of two ways. We could all just sit here quietly and we'll just wait together for them to come.
Right.
Or I could just play some of this music on my laptop and we could kill some time this way. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I want to be out here fucking, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, I'd prefer that we can get through this thing. I want Migos to come out here just as bad as you do
Yeah.
right now.
Raindrop.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, this is what we're going to do. We're going to press restart on this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So what I did was, I had the fucking Dreams and Nightmares as my,
Oh yeah.
like, okay, if all else
My
fails.
trump card, I got that in the tuck.
Yeah, but I had like 10 or 15 trump cards, but that was like
Right, that was the-
the last one out of the
was the-
list, basically. You know what I'm saying? So I just
Joker.
remember like I didn't force it. You know what I mean? I didn't demand it. You know what I mean? I just asked for them, like, yo, for the rest of this set, you know what I mean? Can we vibe?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And I just put my head down and I played it and I just walked across the stage with my head down, hearing. So I didn't want to look them in the eye because I didn't want them to feel like I was forcing them to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? So I just like, you know what? I'm going to let them make the decision. When I look up, it could be one of two things. Either they done and they boom and that's it. Or
it's
they going to
like
fuck with me, right?
everybody fucking.
So, you know, so the piano's going and I'm just looking down or whatever. And I just hear it. getting like more quiet and quiet. I'm like, ah, thank God. Dog, I'm like, and I look up right when the shit was about to drop, and when I tell you, you would have thought Meek Mill was in that motherfucker. The way I seen every light, and mind you, I'm looking down for the whole minute, and right when that shit was building up, I looked back up, and I was like, all right, where were we? That's what I said. I said, where were we? And I looked up, and I just seen nothing but lights. I was like, oh my God. Thank you, Jesus, for getting me through this, bro.
I did it.
You know what I'm saying? So that had nothing to do with my skill level, nothing like that. It was just me being real in that moment. Like, yo, don't turn on me, please.
Like, I need you, please. Please love me. Now, what are the pros and cons of, like, I guess, club life? You know, when you have to be the DJ, you have to turn the party. Like, you are the party. You decide the ebbs and flows of the party. You know, but you know, you can't have a bad set. You're there to do a job, but you know, you still have to feel your feels.
I don't know. As far as what?
As far as, like, you know, okay, so you know, you have to be in the club, you know, even if Santo is not having the greatest of days, you have to be in, and you have to provide the vibe. You have to, you know, someone paid you to go there and do a job, and you have to provide that vibe. Versus, you know, doing this, you know, this is your job. You do this, you know, maybe 4 or 5 times a week, where it's like, I gotta provide this vibe, you know, every single solitary time, and I gotta be on my A game every single solitary time. Where it's like, even if I don't want to be, I have to be. I'm tired, you know. They probably heard these songs, you know, 100 times, but it's like, I just have to be in the club. I have to, like, just the club life.
I think just the club life transitioned throughout time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it used to be a place where it felt a lot more free.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just all around.
Like, a certain records you have to play this night.
Yeah, it's like now you're whack if you don't hit the top 40 songs that are popping on Rap Caviar and whatever's on Billboard. It's like you gotta hit. So it's like now that's when it feels like work. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta check these off my list. Rather than, like, at one point when we would go to the club, people just went to have a good time, and people just went with their guard down. Not like right now. I think everybody goes with their guard up. And what I mean by that is, there's such an expectation now from the DJ. It's like, what are you gonna do that I can't do?
Right.
Because everybody's a DJ now. What I mean by that is everybody has access to the aux.
Right.
You know, everybody has access to whatever song that they want to hear is in their phone right now. So whenever they get in the car or they had a function or a kickback, everybody wants the aux because everybody feels like they could do a better job than the next person setting the vibe, right? Off of whatever it is that their algorithm is telling them that's hot. That's what's hot, because that's the world that they're living in. It's kind of like the social dilemma. It's kind of like, okay, whatever is on their feed is what matters. Not knowing that there might be a whole nother feed in a whole nother lane that matters. And me as a DJ, I got to know of all of these fucking things. You know what I'm saying? I got to know of every lane, and I got to know how to deliver in every scenario. And that gets a lot more difficult as time is going on, just because, you know, it's like that impress me thing. Okay. When you get to the spot 10, 15 years ago, music wasn't that easy to get. You know what I'm saying? So now you go into the club and you looking forward to hearing that record that you heard on the radio on the way. You don't know what the name of it was. Damn, I heard Hot 97 or Hot 937 play a record, sounded fired. I hope the DJ plays it tonight. Now it comes on, you get excited. You know what I'm saying? Rather than now, you heard it before the DJ, even fucking probably heard it himself.
Exactly.
So everybody's on it already. Everybody got their finger on the pulse. So it's a lot more difficult. So that's why I meant as far as freedom from the DJ and then freedom from the crowd. Everybody has a phone now. So it's like everybody kind of got to look cool. Everybody can't get caught slipping. You know, rather than before, it's like you can get caught slipping, but you would have to go on a website and go look at a gallery full of pictures that the photographer took, you know, and figure out if you came out in the picture, if you was in the mirror or a reflection somewhere fucking around doing some shit you wasn't supposed to be doing. You know, and it was very rare that you was going to get caught out like that. But now it's like you don't want to get out here caught up looking dumb. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of like the pros and cons from then and now. And that's the reason why I felt like now it's a lot less fun DJing than it was. You know, I'm not gonna lie.
It's a lot less fun.
But it is. Don't get me wrong. It's a bigger challenge. You know, it is a bigger challenge, and that challenge is the reason why it's fun now. Though it's like, okay, all right. Now I feel like when I step into when I do a club, I feel like I'm stepping into a boxing ring, and it's me against the crowd.
Okay.
Right. I gotta win you over. Right? Once I win you over, then we can have a good time.
Then we do.
The fun don't start until I win you over.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whether you realize it or not, it's subconscious. People are not going like, yo, DJ, you gotta win me. No, it's just a subconscious thing. I gotta make sure that whatever it is that I do in the first however long is gonna win you over. So it's difficult too when we in the day and age where multiple DJs get booked in the night too, because now you have to rely on, there's a lot of different factors. So even though if I would have came and I would have brought my 100% A game that night, there's a lot of variables that can affect it still not being a fun night. And we stress out over that, but there's certain things that we can't control. You know, when you talk about nightclubs right now, the budget ain't really there these days because everybody's undercutting each other.
Yeah.
You know, there's all these specials going on. There's all these birthday packages now. All these fucking bartenders and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That they got to get paid and shit. And so now there's not really a budget really to deliver the quality entertainment that should be delivered. So now you got people slacking in different places. So now, okay, you couldn't afford the budget to get the proper amount of security. Now people walking in there, they dealing with some half-ass security that just came from off the block, rubbing them off the wrong way instantly because they got an ego. That might fuck up somebody's vibe when you go in there. The bartender might be not trained or experienced because they want to hire somebody that they couldn't really afford, or you know, the person that they could afford or whatever was somebody that's not trained. So it's like, okay, now my drink tastes like shit. Or it took an hour and a half for me to get my drink. So it's all these things, DJs, we got to fight against. Because we got to set the vibe, so we got to make sure that we consider all of these variables that may be going on, the sound system being trash, whatever it is. So I just think that it is a bigger challenge. So sometimes it's like, okay, I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna win them over tonight. But then sometimes it's like you got to accept like there wasn't really much I could do. The DJ on before me,
I can only do but so much.
The DJ just like prematurely ejaculated all over this fucking whole situation. Like, you know what I mean? So now I got to go on at 1 a.m. and I got to reset the party. 40s. Now I got to go on at 1 a.m. and bring it back to 11.
Yeah.
And then by 1:30, it got to be 1:30 again.
It got to be 1:30 again. It was like I
got to take that half hour where it could have took 2 hours to warm up. Now I got to do that in that half hour now. And now you might be looking at me like, yo, turn up. And I'm like, yo, you don't understand.
You don't understand. This nigga before me.
Y'all not ready to turn up. You might be, but y'all as a whole ain't ready. So now I got to take one for the team and turn down just so I could turn up.
Right.
It's like a roller coaster. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta come and fucking suck all the energy out of the room. I gotta bring it, and then now I gotta start.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is some real DJ talk.
Yeah, I gotta bring you down to get back up. I mean, nah. Some people out there get it. I guarantee you. Now, what's the difference between like club life and I guess the radio? I guess I'm guessing the radio was much easier, where it was like you just play like the popular hits and just. What?
Nah, the radio's harder. Like I said earlier, with the radio and live, the reason why I feel like it's more difficult is because all of those variables that I just talked about having to fight against, we still got to fight against, but this time I got to do it with a blindfold on.
Okay.
Think about it. You know
I don't know shit about DJing, so you know, obviously. But.
So it's like, I got to do it with I got to read the room without being in the room.
Right.
That shit's difficult.
That's just difficult.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not the type of DJ who's like, all right, it's just me in here. I'm just going to play whatever the fuck I want. Ain't no dance floor. Nah, I'm still thinking about who's listening.
Right.
You know what I mean?
People on their way from the club, the people drunk, the people, trying to get to where they got to go. But it's like you want to turn up in the car. You got to try to make them want to come back next week or whatever the fuck the case may be. Yeah,
but it's a different way that you can be creative, though, with that, though. You know what I mean? It's more of a composition that I'm putting together on the radio rather than being live. That's just straight live. I just take the energy and I just run with it. But the radio, I could be a little bit more creative. Like, okay, I could take some more chances and play records that I couldn't play in the club on the radio. So that is the upside of being on the radio.
Okay. Now, is that the best part of DJing? Is just controlling the crowd? Is it like
absolutely
going into a space and no one knows who you are? Then by the time they leave, it's like, yo, that's Santo.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love DJing places where they don't know me. Cause like when I get booked and people know me, then there's an expectation that you gotta kind of meet or exceed. But if you don't know me and I'm walking into like let's say I'm doing a reggae party or I'm going into like a West Indian scene, you looking at if you not watching, you listening, my skin complexion is not the skin complexion that you're gonna expect that's gonna be DJing a West Indian party. You know what I'm saying? But
Playing that boujou.
yeah, so it's like when I get to go and I be like turn the place out, and I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's a gratifying feeling because I'm like, you know, I took your expectation from me and I exceeded it. You know what I mean? I love that.
Right. Now, how did the job at the radio station come about? First of all,
Man, there was a lot of people that helped with that, man. Shout out to Joey Franchise. Just spoke with him today real quick. He was actually tuned into the Webby Zoom that we did. Joey Franchise was real heavy into the cosign. He introduced me to Buck. He was like, yo, this is the guy. Not only him, but DJ Mean from Bridgeport, Connecticut. He also introduced me to Buck. Like, yo, this is the guy. And you know, the thing about when you get introduced from another DJ, that's a different thing because it's like for a DJ to co-sign you and say this is the guy, it's a different type of respect you gotta have for that. You know what I'm saying? So anybody could champion you, but when a DJ does it, it's like, okay, you gotta pay attention. G Money the Prince, another person that gave me the co-sign. I was working with him with Connecticut Against Violence, an organization that I'm a part of. We were doing like a lot of schools together. We were probably working for about 2 years, doing a bunch of schools. And what we do is we do assemblies, and we'll go to schools, we'll play music, we'll turn up, bring speakers to come talk to them. And we were doing that for free, just doing it for the community for like 2 years. Me building up my relationship with G Money, with Joey Franchise. We were booking Joey Franchise down in our area in Bridgeport. You know, mind you, he's a Hartford guy, so he was getting gigs out here, and we were doing our thing. But we didn't need the radio for anything. So I'm booking Joey Franchise, or I'm booking whoever it is. We don't need to do that. We're only doing that just to have somebody else to come in and have some different flavor as far as the music. But we weren't doing it like, yo, let's try to get their crowd to come, because we already had that. So it was more like it was self-sufficient. Like I didn't need anybody to basically be hired. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you know what? I'm going to hire myself. I'm going to build my team. So we were doing our clubs and everything like that. And the radio was looking like, hold up. You're not getting no advertising from us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not, you know, I'm like, you're not, but meanwhile, I'm successful in my own right. So I felt like it was more like a partnership rather than me getting hired at the radio. It was like, okay, if we're going to bring you on to the radio, it's not just them hiring me, it's them hiring what I brought to the table. And that was, you know, my team, you know, what I was bringing, what I was doing in Bridgeport. So I felt like the radio came along. Once I got introduced, I just grinded my fucking ass off. And I just continued to do me, doing our own events. I got a van with my face on it. You know, I was hitting Hot Jam, and I was doing like 960 on Wednesdays where Craig was at. And certain spots that were in Hartford, my man Charlie Rock, Don't Be Mad, we would pull up with the van, and you know, we would go hit every car with the flyer with my face on it, and just like real street team shit.
Yeah.
From like, you know,
lost art.
Yeah, like real street team shit. So I think once I was doing that, I caught their attention, and then DJ Buck, the program director, one day somebody called out for G Money's show. Now, you know, he's had his eye on me or whatever the case is. Then he hits up G Money. He's like, hey, listen, I was thinking about putting Santo in to fill in for tonight. Have you heard of him? I just explained I was doing 2 years, and mind you, I was doing all of this with all these DJs, but I wasn't asking them for nothing.
Right.
So I'm working with G Money for 2 years. I didn't ask him for nothing. You know what I'm saying? It was just us working. So he's like, "What, Santo? That's my boy." I just was with him today. It just so happened that day that I did my first filling, I was actually with G Money doing a school. So he's like, "Yo, I just came from Bridgeport. I was just out there." So now he's like, oh, "Okay, bet." So then when I went up there and I did my filling, I did my first set. When I tell you, dog, I had about 300 people repost the flyer in a few hours, and then I had like just nothing but people calling to the point where G Money was picking up like, "Yo, it's Hot 937. Let me guess, you're from Bridgeport." You know what I'm saying? And it was like, yeah, you know, and it was just like Bridgeport felt like, okay, finally somebody that's representing us is on this fucking station. And and so so I didn't even realize all that energy I was putting out there. I had no idea that you know, people were gonna give it back one day, and that was the day that I felt like people really, really like threw me on their shoulders. It was like, nah, we're gonna make sure you get invited back today. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened. Like I just, cause I kept it safe that night. I didn't really do nothing that was really outstanding or anything like that. I just kept it safe. I had mad people supporting me, and then when they called me back to have a meeting, I took it a step further. I was like, you know what? I had that with me. I got all these coastlines, but then also I'm going to come and not act like I already got a job. I'm going to come and I'm going to act like I want the job. So I came prepared. Like what I did was I put together a magazine, and in the magazine I had my bio, you know, I had a bunch of things in there, but more importantly, I had testimonials. I had people, pictures, thousands and thousands of pictures in this magazine of people holding up my mixtape, people standing by my van, taking pictures with the van, you know, kids that we were working with at the school, you know, holding up banners and stuff like that. Just, and so when I gave him that, it was just like me saying, hey, listen, I could talk about it or I could show you.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? So I showed him like, yo, this is the people that support me. This is what you'll be getting if you bring me on. And that's kind of how it happened. But the International Sundays came about, which is the show that I have on Sundays where I get to pretty much play whatever the fuck I want. That came about because the scene that we were doing, you know, the parties that we were doing, our crowd was so diverse that I would play all of these different things in the party. So, you know, when you come to see me DJ, I'm the guy that would be at a hip hop party playing reggaeton. I'm the guy that's at the Spanish party playing hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I'm always that guy that's pushing it. You know what I'm saying? So when Buck came out and he seen how I was DJing, he was like, yo, how do you feel about doing a show? You know, because the reggaeton show was retiring. And he was like, how do you feel about doing a show just where like you just pretty much play how you played in the club? You could play like pretty much everything. I'm like, shit. I'm like, well, we got to come up. You know, now I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, that sounds fun, but now we got to take it a step further. So then shout to Eli, I brought him up earlier. He was like, the International Sunday. He was like, yo, how about you do the International? So that gives you an excuse. And it's kind of like a disclaimer already. When you hear that and then you tune in and you hear house or you hear cumbia or you hear reggaeton, you're not shocked about it because it's called International Sundays. So he was like, that could be your disclaimer. And then not only that, you could talk about culture. You could talk about this. I'm like, yo, you know what? You're fucking on to something, my man.
I think it's smart.
Let's go.
Keep him. He's
International
smart.
Sundays.
He's smart.
My man. You know, so.
Now, do you feel like you've ever gotten too big for Connecticut?
My bad. That was a long-ass answer.
No.
But I felt like I had to take every piece of the puzzle because I want people to know that's watching that it's not just one thing that's going to get you from A to C, A to D, A to wherever it is you're trying to go. It's going to be multiple things.
Can't cut no corners.
Yeah, so I don't know how G Money's talking about me when I'm not in the room, or how franchise is talking about me when I'm not in the room. I can't control those things, but what I can control is my relationship with them and being 100 with them. So I never took and cut any corners. I always kept it 100 with everybody, and I always try my best to do what I needed to do, and ended up paying off. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now, have you ever felt like you've gotten too big for Connecticut and you need to leave Connecticut? Because a lot of artists, I feel like they feel like the scene of Connecticut isn't it, and they're not gonna get discovered here. They won't be heard here, so they wind up moving to like a Texas or like a Atlanta or some shit like that, or like a Florida or something like that, where it's like they feel like they're that good that they'll get that much more exposure, and they'll be discovered that way. Do you ever feel like in your DJing career, with you being international, being all over the world, you feel like, you know what, Connecticut just ain't the place for me no more? I need to branch out and just, you know, show people Santo in these bigger markets.
So it's funny that talking about Joey Franchise, he put up a post today. It was like a meme with some shit where it's like, the grass always seems greener on the other side. He's like, but really it's the grass is green where you water it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that mentality, and it's kind of like also the bigger markets. Now you could be a small fish in a big pond, or you could be a bigger fish in a small pond. It's just depending on what your preference is. You know what I mean? So me, I don't mind Connecticut because I have traveled. And I feel like we got it a lot better than what we feel like we do, honestly. You know, I feel like our culture, what we have here as far as talent, you know, being so close to New York, being close to Boston, what they're doing, you know, the food, everything like that, I feel like we're just spoiled, yo. I feel like we don't really understand how. We don't. Take a trip to Wyoming. Take a trip to Idaho.
Wyoming?
Take a trip to any of these places in the Midwest that you would have to travel hours to get to another city.
Wyoming, my nigga?
Yeah, dog. It's
shit
like
in Wyoming.
It feels,
other than Kanye?
People in Wyoming, when I spoke to people in Wyoming when we went out there, it felt like the energy was as if they felt as if there's no opportunity out there. You know, they don't even like, some of the people I was really dealing with out there doesn't even really like do the online thing. It's kind of like they're in their own little world, and then they cool with that. They don't understand how big the world or how small the world really is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I understood when I went to Europe. It's like, yo, this world is a lot smaller than what we think about. I connect with a lot more people and relate to a lot more people than what, if you let the media tell it, you would think the world is this big fucking place with all these horrible people in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's from my experience, that's not the case. I found myself relating to a lot of people in a lot of different places. And I was like, you know what? Connecticut ain't really that bad. It's just more or less about, especially now in this day and age, we got the internet. So if you really complaining about where you're from, using that as an excuse, I feel like that's just what it is. It's an excuse. You know what I mean? Because there's no reason why you can't be successful anywhere you're at as long as you got Wi-Fi. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, the internet has opened up the whole world to at your fingertips. Like, why the fuck are you just subjected to this state? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Now, one of the last things I want to ask you now, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this now. If an artist wanted to get their music to you, to have it played wherever you're at, be it a club, venue, somewhere, how can an artist approach you to get their music played, or just like build that rapport to you where they can give you music?
You can reach out to me and give me music. You can just hit me up on Instagram or whatever the case is, International Santo. But it's not about just hitting me up, okay? All right, let's take this off of me because I don't want this to be about me. Let's just say in general, you want to give a DJ music. Let's just make it general. Or a blogger, or a playlister, or anybody that you want to send your music to, that you want them to hear it. First of all, you got to know how to send the music.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to understand that, like, there is a way about going about how to send music or how to do business with somebody. You know what I mean? So, when you're sending an email to somebody, you got to understand, like me particularly, I have, because I work for the radio, so I have a lot of my email is filled with like a lot of different label reps that are trying to send me music. So, if your email doesn't look as professional or could even stand next to, an Atlantic, and what I mean by professional, just simply having an introduction, okay? Like introduce, have a bio in the email. You know what I mean? Have, go to like a MailChimp and create a template for it. You don't have to use MailChimp to distribute the email, but at least have like a template where, so there's a button. There's a a listen button or a download button, just something to make it so like anybody that's looking at the email says, okay, this person is not an amateur, right? Because it's not let's say you send a song, just send an MP3. It's untitled ... 46789
all that shit.
B capital C, whatever the fuck
Bad signal.
it's titled or whatever it is, right? Let's say that's literally sonically the best song that was ever made, ever. And it doesn't even matter because part of us right now spending our energy on music, we're betting on you. So we have to know that if I play this song, what's gonna happen after I play it? Not much if you don't have legs for the song on your own. So if you're an amateur and I feel like you're just getting into the game, boom, you got to make yourself hot, right? You have to make yourself hot. And how you do that is you go ahead, you find who likes the music that you're putting out. You get those testimonials from those people, how I did it with the radio. So you go, you fill your email up with, okay, you got to make it seem like to us, like we're going to be missing the train. It's going to be going by.
Exactly.
You don't have to jump on it. We're just letting you know, we're giving you the courtesy of sending you this email just to let you know what's going on.
It's coming, nigga.
You don't have to say that, but position it in a way when I see this email, I'm like, wait, what the fuck? How the fuck I didn't know about this? Include the statistics. Let me know. Yo, so-and-so's already supporting it. Flex done dropped the bomb on this already.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? TikTok is already, so let me know that there's somebody else besides me that's gonna fuck with this record. So if I fuck with it, I'm not wasting my time, because you gotta understand, when I say we're betting on your music, yes, we're betting on, if I play this, we want you to be successful. I don't want to just play a record because it's hot. I want to play a record knowing that people are gonna enjoy it. I want
you to be somebody, motherfucker.
Yeah, I want people to enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta fucking shoot a video for this shit. Like, I'm going real basics. ID3 tag.
Easy.
If you don't know what an ID3 tag is, you shouldn't be asking me about sending music to me. What you should be doing is YouTubing or going to school. This is what we talk about school. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be actual school. Go to the school of somebody.
Yeah.
Find a mentor. Find somebody that's going to help you get to the point where you can go ahead and start networking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going, that's like, all right, you holler at a chick, ask her to go out on a date, but you don't got a car to pick her up.
Yeah, you niggas.
You understand? Or you don't got your shit together. Get your shit together.
Y'all invest
and
more
then
into
start
y'all look.
hollering at motherfuckers.
Y'all invest
but
more
y'all
into
trying to
y'all
skip.
look.
Y'all trying to skip from A to
Skip
Z.
steps.
And y'all not understanding that, yo, bro, do your motherfucking research.
Yo, I'm
and
the
figure
hottest
out-
nigga here. I do this, I do that. Here's my song, nigga.
Yeah,
you need to go through the proper channels. You ain't got the shit tagged right.
You should.
You
You
got
got
a
to be
clean
registered to
version.
the media base. It has to be registered to everywhere. And if what I'm saying is foreign to you right now, then you need to do more time researching. You know what I mean? All of these things could be YouTube, and you can learn all these things. If what I'm saying is like, oh yeah, no shit, duh, then this doesn't apply to you. You know what I'm saying? This doesn't. Then you know what I mean? But I'm just talking about, and you'd be surprised, yo. There's like 98%.
Oh, I'm not surprised anymore.
Well, yeah, because you got a podcast, so you know. So 98% of the people that reach out, and you also have to reach out on some like, yo, listen. You have to expect that this person doesn't know you, so you're selling yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're selling yourself. So just know that whenever you reach out to anybody, just have your shit together, dog. That's all I'm saying.
Yo, that's,
You know?
yeah, that should be rule number one. Just have your shit together. A lot of you niggas invest into more of, I guess, your look into your actual music. Like, a lot of niggas, y'all beats be trash. Y'all beats be having tags on them still. Y'all just be rapping over whatever the producer sent you. You ain't paid for. Y'all ain't shoot a video. Y'all don't got the proper artwork. Like, it's just like, yo, if you're gonna take this shit serious, show me you taking it serious and then present it to me. Don't send me some half-ass shit and telling me it's the greatest thing in the world. You gonna miss the train if you don't hear it, nigga. If it's not presented right, I don't want to hear it in the first place.
Just, yeah, you got to let us know that, yo, somebody else is supporting this. So, like with a bio, right? There's a bio for the artist. So you could send like, okay, I'm so-and-so, I'm Santo. This is, you know, you could explain who you are or whatever, right? But then there also should be a bio for the song.
Right.
And never send more than one song. If you're sending more than one song, that tells me that you're confused. You don't even know which is the hit. That means you have to, there's options. Don't give any options. You send one song.
This is it.
So you can make 5 songs, 10 songs, 15, 20 songs, 30 songs, whatever the fuck it is. Put them all out, whatever. But find the one that people are graduating to the most, that the numbers are doing the best. That's the song that you pick, that you put your budget. See, we're in a different day and age now. Before you had to have a whole rollout, a whole campaign, a whole budget lined up to prepare for what your singles are going to be. Now, we got the privilege of just putting out the music without it costing us anything. So think about this. At one point, you had to drop a record, and them motherfucking songs had to get pressed up on a CD or a record or a tape. And that would have to cost you money for you to even put a record out. Now we could put a record out and distribute it without having to spend a single dollar. That's a privilege. Take advantage of that. Put as much music out as you want, and then do the statistics, read the analytics, and say, you know what, okay, this is the one that's reacting the best. Not just the best like across the board, but this one might be the best for this platform, because not all music belongs everywhere. That's another thing we got to understand too. There's certain songs that might be better for Hot 937 than they are for different places. There's certain songs that might be better performed live. There's certain songs that might be better with a video. I just left Webby's house today. He was playing me music. There was one song in particular that he played me. I was like, yo, this song right here, I don't think this song should come out without a video, because it's so left that if you don't see a video when you're hearing it for the first time, you might not be able to understand why he even made that song.
Yeah.
So you gotta understand music belongs at different places. You know what I mean? When you get in the elevator music that's playing is not the same music that's playing when you get to the club.
Exactly.
So just because your music might not be something that might be something that I want to play on my show, that doesn't mean it don't belong somewhere. But it's up to you. It's not up to me to figure out where your music belongs. It's up to you to figure that shit out. You got to figure out where people are that like your music, and then target that audience. And then me being a DJ from the outside looking in, I'll see that happening, and then I'll say, oh, I want in. Hold up, that's going on. It's my job to have my finger on the pulse. There's no way that's happening, and I don't know about it. Why the fuck don't I know about it?
I need parts.
I need in. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we're bandwagoners. DJs are jumping on what the wave is. We're not breaking records no more. I'm sorry to have to break this news to you guys. I don't know if this is breaking news to anybody, but a Funk Flex bomb is not going to be the only thing that's going to propel your career, because we're not in the day and age where that now you need a lot more. So the DJ isn't where you should be focusing, or the radio isn't where you should be focusing your attention.
Right.
It should be spending your money, your time, and energy into getting a fan base. Focus on them and what they want. It's how we were talking about Webby earlier. Webby didn't give a fuck about what the DJs wanted to hear. Webby has started with a fan base of 20, 30, 40 people and kept feeding them. Now we're on the outside looking in like, why the fuck are people gravitating to him?
He made people.
We don't get it.
He made
because it was never for us to get.
You're right.
It was for him and his fans to get. Anybody else on the outside looking in, that's what you are. You're outsider. If you want to come in, you want to be a part of what he's doing, you can opt into that, or you don't have to.
Right.
But you can't lose sleep if some people are not willing to opt in. You just got to find the people who are. You know what I'm saying?
See, just broke all that shit down to you. Just gave you the fucking 101 class of what the fuck to do to get your shit to a DJ, and just to, you know.
And as far as like a good tip for the creating a song for the I'm in the bio for the song. What I would suggest is just find like a random blog, and offer them like the exclusive or something like that. You know, it don't have to be fucking double XL. Just go do some Googling and figure out who's writing and typing up some things, and ask them, hey, listen, if I give you the exclusive, boom, 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 you know, can you write something about the song? You know, I'll make sure that all my platforms, I'm promoting your website and everything like that. Now you get them to write it. Now you send them the song, and now they're writing about your song.
Exactly.
And you put that publication in your post when you send it to the DJs or send it to the bloggers.
Now you got something to put on your resume.
So now you're not talking about your song. Somebody else is talking about your song from the outside. And now I'm looking at this shit like, oh, okay, I'm not going to check the credentials or whatever this website is. I'm not doing all that. I just know that somebody else fucks with it. So now I'm like, now it caught my interest a little bit more than if you would have just tried to sell it to me.
Look at these tips and tricks y'all niggas getting for free. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Look at this shit.
It ain't for free. You had to do us talking about Annoyed for half an hour. So if you made it this far, fuck with you. You earned all of that.
Word. Now, last thing I want to ask you is, what has 2020 taught you as a whole when it comes to either like your career aspect, either you personally, you mentally, you looking at other people and how they receive information? Like, what has 2020 just taught you as a whole?
I just think that, like, how we were talking about earlier, I just think that 2020 just pretty much, first, what it did was it put a mirror in front of everybody. I think what it did. It's like, okay, pause, take a look at what you're doing, take a look at yourself, reevaluate. You know what I'm saying? Like we said earlier, it's not that serious. You know what I'm saying? Whatever I got going on, it's not really that serious. Not as serious as, you know, us being able to stick together and you know, provide some sort of motivation for one another. So if that was my thing, it was like, you know, we're putting out music. I always like to share music because of how other people felt. So I was always on that wave. So now it's even more magnified. Now it's like, okay, now I feel like people need music more than ever. You know, they need each other more than ever. So it's really just put things in perspective where it's like, yo, you know what? We really need each other. That's what I really learned. It's like, yo, we need each other more than what, because like I said earlier, I was cool spending time by myself. You know, I was cool whatever world I was living in. And now I'm realizing we need each other. We just, as human beings, we need each other. You know what I'm saying? And if you feel like that's not the case, then I feel like you need to do some more searching, because when we talk about a village, you know, that's what we got to be doing. We got to really be looking out for ourselves and each other. You know what I'm saying? And making sure that we are right. That's what 2020. So all the business shit and all that shit really became secondary. Now it's just more or less, you know, with the Black Lives Matter and you know, just feeling like pain from the world, and just, you know, if you didn't take this opportunity to kind of like, you know, feel some of that. And that's another thing too, really tell me like, you know what, it's okay to kind of sit in the moment and feel that. You know what I'm saying? Because we were too busy. Everybody was just too busy doing everything. So it's easy to ignore certain things. But when you stuck at the crib and you got to look at that 8 minutes and 46 seconds and you got no choice but to feel that, and you can't express that, now that's what I mean why I put a mirror in front of us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing to contribute for the next generation?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? To make sure that 20 years from now, we're not still in the same spot that we was 20 years ago as a society.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think 2020 has taught me is what am I doing personally to contribute towards us, you know, having a better fucking a life for the next generation that's coming up behind us, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's important.
For when you eventually have kids,
Our kids,
and
yeah.
you gotta set the precedent for that next generation. Don't you ever get it fucked up.
That's a fact.
So we got to do that. So now, Santo, where can they find you on the internets, on the webs, on the, you know, what clubs you doing next? Where you gonna be on tour? Any information you can provide?
If you could follow me on anywhere that you stream music, whether it be Spotify, Apple, Tidal, it's International Santo across the board. You can follow me on that. I'll be releasing some music really soon, and yeah, internationalsanto.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you can go if you interested in booking me. Or if you need some music, some mixes, whatever it is, you can definitely go there. I also have merch there as well. And yeah, shout out to this hat right here that I'm wearing. My Club Van Home crew got me this as a gift.
Well, shout out to that.
So I gotta shout them out for that. You know, he mentioned earlier I was doing like a lot of lives, and I created a nice support system while I was doing that, and the people that fuck with me, and they actually just sent me this through the mail the other day as a gift.
Shout out to that.
them.
Domino Effect merch coming soon. You got a song out with Annoy, right?
Yes,
That's
yep.
out now.
It's called Appreciation. That's out now. I have a song with Webby and Annoyed called Yippee Kaye. That's also out now. I have a song that I produce along with JP on a track for Chris Webby, Be Real from Cypress Hills on that, along with Smoke Dizza. So that's incredible.
Big names, big names.
Very incredible to be affiliated with that. And yeah, my man Alondon, he's a reggae artist, really, really incredible. I have a lot of music I'm working on with Alondon. Yo, I would love to bring him back. And we could probably
definitely, yo, whatever. Yo, just let me know. Just let me know a date and a time and we here, yo. Just
I would love to bring Alondon.
G, we gotta set it up. All right. G still out there, I hope. I think.
So yeah,
boom, there you go.
Salute. Now, Alondon is good people. He's really, really talented artist, and me and him are working on a lot. Right now, we got about 12 records in right now. So, who knows? You know, we might package it up, put it out as a project. We might not. We're gonna see how it goes, but hopefully, we'll be back here soon to talk about.
Definitely. My goal for 2021 is to get on Santo's like B-Day friend list, because every time a nigga got a birthday, he got a picture with them niggas somehow, some way. He be knowing mad motherfuckers. Like, it was like, yo, happy birthday to Wiz Khalifa, Tatiana Ali, fucking, you know, Jay-Z, whoever. I'm like, yo, this nigga know everybody. Diplo. I'm like, all right, subtle flex. I appreciate
you know what's crazy is that today I was like, damn, I do all of that shit and I ain't even post up the picture with me and Webby.
I mean, but
I spent the whole fucking day
last year.
I spent the whole day with him though, so you know.
So you know, he know you love him.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but like that's one of my goals, to get on Santo birthday friend list. Where it's like, yo, when's my birthday next year? It was like, yo, Domino, happy birthday, my nigga. It was like, oh shit, I'm somebody.
I'm gonna be real with him right now. There's an app that I use.
It gotta be.
There's a scheduling app that I use. And what I did one day is I just went and I created a folder full of all the celebrities that I had pictures with.
Right.
And I Googled all of their birthdays. And it took me about 3 days. And literally I just, throughout the whole year, I just scheduled posts to wish them happy birthday on their day.
Yo, you know who got the same birthday?
To keep my algorithm.
You know who got the same birthday as me?
That's another one for y'all motherfuckers right there. Boom!
But do you know this? You know who got the same birthday as me?
As you?
Eminem.
Oh, shit! See?
Full circle.
That's what I'm saying.
Full circle, my nigga.
Don't bring up Eminem, please.
Not to get right now, but Santo, yo, appreciate you for coming through, my nigga, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, my nigga, man.
Thank you for having me.
Finally got this done. So, I guess that's the end. So, one thing's for certain, we too much for these niggas and three much for these hoes. I go by the name of Domino. That's DJ Santo. And we out of here. Shout out to G Studio, providing the vibe. Appreciate you, my nigga. I love you. I ain't said enough, but I am drunk. I love you, my nigga. I love you, my nigga.
Domino, motherfuckers, what's happening?
C'est tout.